Welcome, traveller. The campfire is lit, the ale has been poured, and the night belongs to us once more. Tonight's tale begins not with knights and castles, but with a reconstruction of the real 1350 London. We're skipping the cinematic tropes where taverns are clean and the beer is cold, and we're diving into the actual economics of running a medieval business. You are now a tavern keeper. Congratulations on your terrible life choice. You've just inherited the Swan, a timber-framed establishment on Cheapside. Your uncle died. Plague, probably. The cause of death is medieval, and we're moving on. You now own the building, the barrels, and a mountain of unpaid debts. Good news? You're a property mogul in a post-plague economy. Bad news? You're about to spend 18 hours a day navigating the Assize of bread and ale, the strict laws that dictate your prices. You'll be serving unhopped beer to people who will fight, vomit, and occasionally die on your premises. If you water down the beer too much, the ale conners will put you in the pillory. If you don't, you'll go bankrupt. Welcome to small business ownership, medieval style. The vibes are absolutely rancid. Before we dive into the bioarchaeology of the forge and hearth, light that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into medieval working conditions. Now then, dim the lights. Let's open for business. You arrive at the Swan at dawn, 5 in the morning. The sun isn't up yet. London is just starting to wake. You can hear the church bells ringing for morning prayers, street vendors setting up, animals being driven to market. The city smells like smoke, sewage, and opportunity, mostly sewage. Your tavern is a 2-story timber-framed building. Ground floor is the main room, the common area where customers drink, eat, gamble, and fight. Upstairs is lodging. 4 rooms, 8 beds total. You rent them to travellers, merchants, and anyone who can pay. Sometimes 3 people share a bed, sometimes 4, sometimes one of them is dead and nobody's noticed yet. Hospitality industry, medieval edition. The building leans slightly to the left. All medieval buildings lean. Its structural character, very authentic. The timber beams are darkened from decades of smoke. The floor is packed dirt, covered with rushes, basically medieval carpeting. The rushes are supposed to be changed weekly. They're not. They're full of spilled beer, dropped food, rat droppings, and things you don't want to identify. The smell is powerful. You'll get used to it. You have no choice. You unlock the door. The tavern is dark, cold and silent, peaceful even. Dream on. This peace will last approximately 45 minutes. Then the first customers arrive and your day becomes chaos until midnight. 14 to 16-hour days. Every single day. No weekends off. Medieval people haven't invented the weekend. That's 1900s labour movement energy. You're in 1350. You work until you drop. Your staff arrives. By staff, I mean 2 people. Margaret, your serving woman, and Thomas, your potboy. That's it. That's your entire workforce for a tavern that will serve 100 people today. Margaret is 40. Ancient by medieval standards. She survived 2 plague outbreaks, giving birth 3 times, and working in taverns for 20 years. She's built different. Genuinely. She can carry 6 wooden cups at once, break up fights without getting hurt, and spot a customer about to vomit from across a crowded room. She's worth her weight in silver. You pay her 4 pence a day plus meals. She's your most valuable employee. Thomas is 12. That's not a typo. 12 years old. He washes cups, empties chamber pots, runs errands, and hauls barrels from the cellar. Youth labour protections? Never heard of her. Won't be invented for another 500 years. Thomas works from dawn until midnight for 2 pence a day, plus food and a place to sleep in the cellar with the rats. The rats don't pay rent. Neither does Thomas. This is medieval economics. Your first task. Start the fire. The hearth dominates one wall of the main room. It's massive, 6 feet wide, 4 feet deep, constantly burning. This fire will cook your food, heat your building, and never go out. If it goes out, restarting it is a catastrophic pain involving flint, steel, and approximately 45 minutes of swearing. You keep it burning always. Just add wood and hope. Thomas brings wood from the storage area. You arrange it carefully. The fire catches. Heat begins to spread through the room. The tavern is coming alive. Next task, prepare the ale. This is critical. This is your main product. This is 90% of your income. Bread and ale. Ale and bread. That's what taverns sell. Everything else is secondary. You head to the cellar, down narrow wooden stairs. The cellar is cool, dark, and damp. Perfect for storing barrels, less perfect for the rats. The rats are everywhere. They're permanent residents. They don't cause problems as long as they stay away from the food stores. They don't stay away from the food stores. This is fine. Everything's fine. You have 20 barrels of ale in various stages of readiness. You brewed most of it yourself. Brewing is part of your job. You're a tavern keeper / brewer / cook / bouncer / accountant / marriage counsellor when drunk customers start crying about their problems. Multitasking, medieval style. Medieval ale is not modern beer. It's completely different. Weaker, cloudier, slightly sweet, and it goes bad in about 3 days. 3 days. You brew constantly. If you brew Monday, it's ready Wednesday, and spoiled by Saturday. You're always brewing. Always. The brewing never stops. It's your entire life now. The ale is made from malted barley, water, and herbs. No hops yet. Hops won't become standard in England for another century. Instead, you use gruit, a mixture of herbs including yarrow, bog, myrtle, and heather. The result tastes like bread water with attitude. Not great, not terrible. Definitely not what modern people think of as beer. But it's safer than drinking the water, so people consume it constantly. Adults drink a gallon a day. A gallon. That's 128 ounces. You sell a lot of ale. You tap a barrel that's ready. The ale flows into a large jug. It's cloudy, brownish, and smells yeasty. Perfect. This will sell. Margaret is setting up the main room. She's arranging wooden benches and tables. The furniture is rough, basic carpentry, nothing fancy. Some tables wobble. One bench is definitely going to collapse today. You know which one. You've been meaning to fix it. You haven't fixed it. Someone will fall. They always do. She's also putting out wooden cups and bowls. No glass. Glass is for rich people. You have wood and ceramic. The cups are cleaned by rinsing with water. Not hot water, not sanitized. Just dunked in a bucket and wiped. Germ theory? Still never heard of her. Won't be discovered for another 500 years. Your cups are probably cleaner than the customer's hands. Probably. Thomas is hauling in bread from the baker next door. You don't bake your own bread. You buy it. The baker makes it. You serve it. Division of labour. Very efficient. The bread arrives in large rounds. It's dense, dark, and will break your teeth if you're not careful. This bread has structural integrity. You could use it as a weapon. Some customers do. The bread serves double duty. You eat it, obviously, but you also use trenchers, thick slices of stale bread that function as edible plates. You put food on the bread. Customers eat the food, then eat the bread. Very sustainable. Zero waste, medieval dining. The bread absorbs all the grease and juices. By the end, it's basically a soggy mess, but people eat it anyway. Food is food. 6 in the morning, you're ready. You unlock the front door. You turn the sign. The Swan is open for business. The first customers arrive within minutes. They're labourers, craftsmen, apprentices, starting their workday. They want breakfast. Breakfast is bread and ale. That's it. No eggs, no bacon, no pancakes, bread, ale. Take it or leave it. A carpenter sits at the corner table. He orders a pint. You pour from the jug Margaret brought up. He drinks. He doesn't complain. Success. That's a paying customer who isn't fighting anyone. You're already winning. More customers filter in. A blacksmith's apprentice, 2 men who work at the docks, a merchant servant running errands. They all want the same thing. Ale and bread. You serve. They drink. They pay mostly. Some promise to pay later. You keep a mental tab. Medieval credit system. Very trustworthy. Absolutely no problems with this arrangement. By 7, you have 20 customers. The room is getting loud. Medieval people are not quiet. Conversations are shouted across the room. Laughter echoes off the timber beams. Someone drops a cup. It clatters on the packed dirt floor. Business as usual. The noise will continue for the next 16 hours. Constant talking, laughing, arguing, singing, and occasionally screaming. Your tavern is never quiet when it's open. Never. The acoustics are terrible. The timber building amplifies everything. You can hear every conversation whether you want to or not. Privacy doesn't exist. Everyone knows everyone's business. The tavern is the medieval social media platform. All the drama happens here. A regular named William arrives. He's a dyer, works with cloth, stains everything he touches blue. His hands are permanently blue. His fingernails are blue. Parts of his face are blue. Occupational hazard. He sits at his usual spot and orders his usual a pint of your strongest ale. You don't have different strengths. You have ale, one type. Whatever you brewed this week, but William thinks you have a special strong batch reserved for good customers, so you pour from the same barrel and charge him an extra halfpenny. He's happy. You're happy. Capitalism is alive and well in 1350. By 8 in the morning, you have 30 customers, and the real chaos hasn't even started yet. This is the calm before the storm. The actual storm begins around noon, when the lunch crowd arrives, and suddenly you have 80 people crammed into a room designed for 40. Everyone's drunk, someone started gambling, and that one bench you didn't fix has definitely collapsed. But we're not there yet. Right now, it's still early, still manageable. You stand behind the bar, a long wooden counter, separating you from the masses, and survey your domain, your tavern, your business, your responsibility, your absolute nightmare. Congratulations, you've spawned into medieval hospitality. No employee handbook, no health and safety regulations, no customer service training, just you, a barrel of questionable ale, and a room full of people who are about to make your life very interesting. The breakfast rush is building. Margaret is moving between tables, taking orders, delivering drinks, collecting coins. She's fast. She has to be. If service is slow, customers complain. If customers complain too much, they leave. If they leave, you lose money. If you lose money, you can't buy barley. If you can't buy barley, you can't brew ale. If you can't brew ale, you're out of business. The entire operation is a house of cards built on Margaret's ability to serve 30 people simultaneously. Thomas is running cups from tables back to the washing bucket, then bringing cleanish cups back to the bar. The bucket is just water. Cold water. He dunks the cups, swirls them around, and they're clean. You can still see residue. Nobody cares. The next customer drinks from it anyway. Standards are flexible. In 1350, a group of merchants enters. They're better dressed than the labourers' wool coats, leather boots, actual hats. They sit at the best table near the fire. They order ale. You serve them personally. Better dressed customers might tip. Might. The odds are terrible, but you're optimistic. They're discussing business. Loudly. Everyone can hear them. They're importing wine from France, selling it in London for triple the price. Complaining about taxes. Complaining about competition. Complaining about everything. Merchants are professional complainers. It's very on brand. One of them asks if you have wine. You do not have wine. Wine is expensive. Wine is for rich people and noble households. You're a tavern. You serve ale. That's the entire menu. Ale. Also bread. That's it. You tell him no wine, just ale. He looks disappointed. Too bad. This isn't a wine bar. It's a working class establishment where people drink beer-adjacent beverages and try not to die of dysentery. Adjust your expectations. He orders ale, reluctantly, like you've personally offended him by not stocking imported French wine in your dirt floor tavern. The audacity. 9 in the morning. You've served 50 customers. You've made about 3 shillings. That's 36 pence. Sounds good until you remember you spent 2 shillings on barley yesterday. You owe the baker 8 pence for bread, and you need to pay Margaret and Thomas at the end of the day. Your profit margin is roughly the thickness of a medieval coin. One bad day and you're broke. A customer waves you over. He wants food. Actual food. Not just bread. You offer what you have. Pottage. Pottage is medieval stew. It's been simmering over the fire since dawn. It's made from whatever vegetables you could get cheap at market yesterday. Onions, leeks, peas, beans plus barley, herbs, and sometimes If you're feeling fancy or a customer pays extra, a tiny bit of bacon or salt pork. The result is a thick, greyish porridge-like substance that tastes like poverty and persistence. It's actually not bad. It's hot. It's filling. It'll keep you alive. That's all food needs to do in 1350. You ladle pottage into a wooden bowl. You place it on a trencher, that thick slice of stale bread. You hand it to the customer. He eats. He doesn't die. Another success. Pottage is simmering constantly. You add to it throughout the day. More vegetables, more water, more barley. It never runs out. It's the magic renewable food source. As long as you keep adding ingredients and stirring occasionally, you can feed infinite people. The pot hasn't been properly emptied and cleaned in weeks. The bottom layer is probably from last month. This is fine. The cooking kills everything. Probably. 10 in the morning. The breakfast crowd is thinning. People are leaving for work. Actual jobs, carpentry, metalworking, loading ships at the docks. They drain their cups, drop a few coins on the table, and head out into London to do productive things. You're staying here. You're not leaving. This is your workplace. You're here from 5 in the morning until midnight. 19 hours. Every day. Welcome to medieval work-life balance. It's catastrophic. Margaret is cleaning tables. By cleaning, I mean she's wiping them with a rag. The rag is damp. It's been used on 20 tables already. It's redistributing dirt more than removing it. But the tables look cleaner. Perception is reality. Thomas is sweeping the floor. By sweeping, I mean he's pushing the rushes around with a broom. The dirt, spilled ale, and dropped food just gets mixed into the rushes. You'll change the rushes next week. Maybe. Probably not. They're expensive and you're cheap. You have a brief moment of calm. 20 customers instead of 50. The room is quieter. Relatively, you can hear individual conversations instead of just generalized chaos. 2 men in the corner are playing dice, gambling. This is technically illegal. The city has laws against gambling in taverns. The laws are ignored. Everyone gambles. Dice, cards, betting on fights. Gambling is the unofficial national pastime. The authorities only enforce the laws when they want to make examples of people or collect fines. The rest of the time, they pretend not to notice. You pretend not to notice too. If customers are gambling, they're buying ale. If they're buying ale, you're making money. You're complicit in illegal gambling. Congratulations on your expanding criminal empire. The dice game is getting heated. One man accuses the other of using loaded dice. Loaded dice are dice weighted to land on certain numbers. Cheating, basically. Very common. Everyone does it. Everyone accuses everyone else of doing it. Most of the time, nobody can prove anything. The accused man gets loud. He's not cheating. His dice are fair. The other man is just bad at gambling. This is definitely going to become a fight. You can feel it building. Margaret feels it too. She moves closer, ready to intervene. She's broken up 100 fights. She knows the signs, the raised voices, the standing up, the hand reaching for a belt knife. Belt knives. Everyone has one. They're tools. For eating, for cutting, for working, also for stabbing people during tavern arguments. Multifunctional medieval equipment. You step out from behind the bar. You walk over, calmly, authoritatively. You are the tavern keeper. This is your establishment. You have the home field advantage. You tell them to settle down, keep it friendly, no fighting. If they want to fight, take it outside. If they fight inside, they're both banned, permanently. The threat works. Nobody wants to be banned from their favourite tavern. Where else would they drink? Where else would they gamble? Where else would they spend 14 hours avoiding their families? They sit down, grudgingly. The tension deflates. Crisis averted. You've successfully prevented your first tavern brawl of the day. First, not last. You'll break up 3 more before closing. This is your life now, serving ale, preventing murders, sweeping rushes. The glamorous world of medieval small business. 11 in the morning. You need to check on the brewing. You head back down to the cellar. The current batch has been fermenting for 2 days. You open the barrel. The smell hits you. Yeasty, slightly sour, definitely alcoholic. Perfect. This batch is almost ready. Another day and you can tap it. Brewing is a precise art with imprecise measurements. You don't have thermometers. You don't have hydrometers. You don't have any scientific instruments. You judge readiness by smell, taste, and experience. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't. When you don't, the ale tastes terrible, and customers complain, and your reputation suffers, and you lose business. No pressure. You taste the fermenting ale. It's strong. Maybe too strong. You'll water it down when you serve it. Everyone waters down ale. It's expected. If you don't water it down, people get too drunk too fast and fights increase. If you water it down too much, people notice and complain and report you to the ale conners, the officials who test ale quality. The ale conners are the worst. They show up randomly, demand to test your ale, and if it's too weak or too strong or too anything, they fine you. They once made a brewer wear a barrel around her neck and walk through the streets as punishment for weak ale. Public shaming, medieval style. You really don't want to meet the ale conners. You close the barrel. This batch needs one more day. You'll start a new batch tomorrow. The brewing cycle never ends. It's eternal. You will brew ale until you die. This is your fate now. Back upstairs. The lunch crowd is starting to arrive. Noon is the busy time. Everyone breaks for midday meal. The tavern fills rapidly. Within 15 minutes you go from 20 customers to 70. The noise level increases exponentially. The room is packed. People are standing because all the benches are full. Margaret is sprinting between tables. Thomas can't wash cups fast enough. You're pouring ale as fast as you can. This is the rush. This is chaos. This is every day at lunch. And this is just the beginning. Wait until tonight, when the real drinking starts, and someone inevitably starts a fight over absolutely nothing, and you have to physically throw a drunk person into the street while simultaneously making sure nobody steals the cups. But at least you're your own boss, self-employed, living the dream, the medieval entrepreneurial dream, which is mostly a nightmare, but you're committed now. Welcome to day 1 of running a medieval tavern. You've been open for 7 hours. You have 12 more to go. The lunch rush is building. The afternoon will bring different crowds. The evening will bring drunk people and violence. The night will bring lodgers who may or may not be criminals. You're already exhausted. Your feet hurt. Your back aches. You smell like ale, smoke, and sweat. You haven't eaten anything except a piece of bread you grabbed between customers. This is fine. This is normal. This is medieval hospitality. The fire crackles. The customers shout. Margaret weaves through the crowd. Thomas dumps another bucket of dubiously clean water. The pottage keeps simmering. The ale keeps flowing. The Swan is alive, chaotic, loud, profitable barely, dangerous slightly, exactly what a medieval tavern should be. You return to your position behind the bar. You survey the packed room. Your customers, your income, your responsibility, your beautiful disaster. Congratulations, you're officially in business. The first 7 hours are complete. Only 12 more until closing. Only 19 more hours until tomorrow starts and you do this all over again, forever. The tavern life has begun. Pour another drink, serve another customer, break up another fight, repeat until death. Welcome to the Swan. Where the ale flows freely, the fights break out hourly, and the profit margins are thinner than the rushes on your disgusting floor. Let's see if you survive the lunch rush. 70 people are crammed into your tavern. 70. The room is designed for maybe 40 comfortably. Comfort is not a priority right now. Standing room only. People are shoulder to shoulder. The heat from the fire, plus 70 bodies, makes the temperature unbearable. Everyone's sweating. The smell is evolving beyond description. It's reached new levels. Impressive levels. You could bottle this smell and sell it as a medieval experience. Nobody would buy it. Margaret is moving at speeds that shouldn't be possible for a 40-year-old woman. She's taking orders, delivering drinks, collecting coins, all while navigating a maze of people, benches, and one customer who's already passed out face down on a table. It's noon. He's already done. Lightweight. You're behind the bar pouring continuously. Jug to cup to customer, coins to hand. Repeat. Your arms are tired. You've poured maybe 200 drinks today. You have 500 more to go before closing. The repetitive motion will destroy your shoulders eventually. Occupational hazard. Every tavern keeper over 50 has shoulder problems. You're speed-running joint damage. Thomas is drowning in dirty cups. The washing bucket is overflowing. He's dumping it in the street, refilling from the well, starting over. The well water is theoretically clean. Theoretically, the well is 20 feet from a privy. The groundwater absolutely contains sewage. You're washing cups in contaminated water. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. This is fine. A group of dock workers arrives. 6 men. Massive. Built from hauling cargo all day. They're loud, already drunk from drinking on the job, and looking for trouble. You can tell. 20 years of tavern keeping gives you a sixth sense for trouble. These men are trouble. They sit at the large table near the door. They order ale. You serve them. They drink fast. Too fast. They're not here to relax. They're here to get catastrophically drunk and probably fight someone. One of them slams his cup down. Empty already. He wants more. You pour. He drinks. Slams it down again. More. This is going to be expensive for him and problematic for you. His friends are getting louder. They're telling stories. Work stories. Someone dropped a barrel of wine. Someone else got hit by a cargo net. Someone nearly fell off the dock. They think this is hilarious. They're laughing so hard the table shakes. The bench creaks. You hope it doesn't collapse. It might collapse. A merchant at the next table looks annoyed. The dock workers are too loud. He's trying to conduct business. He glares at them. Bad move. Never glare at drunk dock workers. They notice everything. One of the dock workers notices. He says something. Loud. Aggressive. The merchant responds. Also aggressive. Wrong. You're thinking wrong very intensely. This is escalating. Margaret is already moving toward them. She's carrying a tray of drinks, but she's ready. You step out from behind the bar. Both of you converge on the situation. You get there first. You stand between the two tables. You smile, friendly, authoritative. You remind them this is a respectable establishment. No fighting. Keep it civil. How about another round of ale? On the house? Very generous of you. The dock worker considers this. Free ale is tempting. Fighting is also tempting. He's weighing his options. The entire tavern is watching. This moment could go either way. He accepts the free ale. Crisis averted. You just bought peace for the price of one drink. Worth it. The merchant goes back to his business. The dock workers go back to their stories. The tension dissolves. You return to the bar. Margaret catches your eye. She nods. Good work. You nod back. Teamwork. This is why you pay her 4 pence a day. She's worth every penny. The free ale cost you a halfpenny. Your profit margin just got thinner. But the alternative was a brawl, which would have broken furniture, scared away customers, and possibly gotten the city watch involved. The watch loves fining tavern keepers for disturbances. You made the right choice. 1 in the afternoon. The lunch rush continues. More customers keep arriving. You're beyond capacity. People are drinking while standing in the doorway. Fire code violations? Never heard of her. Won't be invented for centuries. Pack them in. Make money. Hope nobody dies. A woman enters. She's well dressed. Wool dress, linen veil, leather shoes. She looks around nervously. She's clearly never been in a tavern before. She's looking for someone. She approaches the bar. She asks if you've seen her husband. Describes him. You have seen him. He's at the corner table. Drunk. Very drunk. Has been here since breakfast. Spent the day's wages on ale. You point him out. She's furious. She marches over. She starts yelling. He starts yelling back. The entire tavern stops to watch. Free entertainment. Better than juggling. She's demanding he come home. He's refusing. She's listing his failures as a husband. He's defending himself poorly. This is peak medieval domestic drama. Everyone's invested. Someone's taking bets on whether she'll drag him out physically. She does. She grabs his arm. He resists. She pulls harder. He stumbles, nearly falls, catches himself. She's stronger than she looks. She's got that angry wife strength. Unstoppable force. She drags him toward the door. He's protesting. He hasn't finished his drink. Too bad. She doesn't care. Out the door they go. The tavern erupts in laughter. The husband will be back tomorrow. They always come back. You notice his cup is still half full. Waste not. You pour it back into the jug. Recycling, medieval style. Very sustainable. The next customer drinks it. They don't know. They won't know. This is standard practice. 2 in the afternoon. The lunch crowd is finally thinning. People return to work. Actual productive labour. You remain here. Serving. Cleaning. Existing in a state of perpetual exhaustion. The passed-out customer from earlier wakes up. He has no idea where he is. Classic. He looks around, confused. Sees his empty cup. Sees the crowd. Remembers he's in a tavern. He stands up too fast. Big mistake. He staggers. He's going to fall. He doesn't fall. He catches himself on the table. The table wobbles but holds. He sits back down. Slowly this time. He orders water. Smart. He's had enough ale. Water will help. The water won't help. The water is terrible. But at least he's trying. You bring him water. He drinks. Makes a face. The water tastes like the Thames. Which makes sense, because it's from a well that's definitely connected to Thames groundwater. The Thames is part sewer, part garbage dump, part corpse repository. The water quality is execrable, but it's wet. That's all water needs to be in 1350. A group of younger men enters. Apprentices, teenagers, maybe 20 years old. They're paid almost nothing and work 14-hour days, so they spend what little money they have on ale. Economics. They're loud. Young drunk people are always loud. They have energy, enthusiasm, poor judgment. They sit near the fire. They order ale. You serve them. They drink and immediately start arm wrestling. Arm wrestling turns into wrestling. Wrestling turns into roughhousing. Roughhousing turns into someone getting shoved into another table. That customer spills his drink. He's angry. The apprentices apologize. Not sincerely. The customer accepts, grudgingly. You're watching closely. This could escalate. Young drunk people plus angry customers equals fights. Mathematics. But everyone settles down. The apprentices return to arm wrestling. The customer orders another ale to replace the spilled one. Balance restored. 3 in the afternoon. You have a brief lull. Only 30 customers. You can breathe. Margaret sits down for the first time today. She's been standing for 10 hours. Her feet must be destroyed. She doesn't complain. She just sits, drinks some ale, eats some bread, 5-minute break, then back to work. Thomas is in the cellar fetching another barrel. The current one is almost empty. You've gone through 3 barrels today. 3. That's roughly 70 gallons of ale. You've served 70 gallons to hundreds of people, and it's only mid-afternoon. The consumption is staggering. He rolls the new barrel up the stairs. Carefully. If he drops it, that's a week's worth of labour and ingredients gone. Barrels are heavy. Full barrels are catastrophically heavy. Thomas is 12 and weighs maybe 80 pounds. This barrel weighs 150. He's lifting almost double his body weight. Youth labour is brutal. He gets it to the top, doesn't drop it. Success. You help him position it behind the bar. You tap it. Fresh ale flows, ready for the afternoon crowd. A beggar appears in the doorway. He's thin, dirty, missing teeth. He asks for scraps, food, anything. He's hungry. You have leftover bread. Hard bread. Bread nobody wanted, because it's too stale, even by medieval standards. You give it to him. He takes it gratefully. He also asks for ale. You give him a half cup, watered down heavily. Almost more water than ale. He drinks it. Doesn't complain. He leaves. Charity is part of the business. The church encourages it. Feeding the poor earns you good karma, or heaven points, or whatever the priests are selling. Also, beggars remember kindness. They tell other beggars, good reputation spreads, bad reputation spreads faster. You want to be known as generous, within reason. You're not running a charity, you're running a business that occasionally does charity. 4 in the afternoon. The afternoon drinking shift begins. These are your regulars, the professional drinkers, the men who've finished work early or don't work at all. They arrive like clockwork. Same time, same seat, same order. Robert the baker arrives. He brings fresh bread. You buy 10 loaves. He sits down for his daily ale, 1 pint, every day, 4 o'clock. He drinks, talks about how wheat prices are rising, complains about the guild, finishes his pint, and leaves. Routine. Predictable. You appreciate predictable customers. John the leather worker arrives. He smells like the tanning process. If you thought your tavern smells bad, tanning is worse. Much worse. Tanning uses urine, feces, and animal brains to cure leather. John smells like he bathed in this mixture. He did. Occupationally, he orders ale. You pour up wind, self-preservation. Henry the clerk arrives. He works for a wool merchant. He's literate, rare. Maybe 5% of London is literate. Henry can read and write Latin and English. He's educated. He's also depressed. His job is copying documents all day, in terrible light. His eyesight is failing at age 30. Occupational hazard for scribes. He drinks to forget. He'll need a lot of ale. These regulars are your bread and butter. They come daily. They pay consistently. They don't cause trouble. They're the foundation of your income. Without regulars, you'd go bankrupt in a week. They settle into their spots. They order. You serve. They drink and talk. Politics, business, gossip. The tavern is the information network. News spreads here faster than anywhere else. Someone heard the king is raising taxes. Someone else heard there's plague in Bristol. Someone heard a merchant was robbed on the road to Dover. All rumours. Some true, some false. All discussed extensively. The conversation turns to the war. England is fighting France. The 100 Years' War, currently in year 14. 86 years to go, but nobody knows that yet. The war is expensive. Taxes are high. Everyone has opinions. Nobody has solutions. This is politics. One customer says England is winning. Another says France is winning. They argue. They bet on it. They'll never know who was right. The war will outlive them both. But the argument is entertaining. 5 in the afternoon. You need to check the pottage. It's been simmering all day. You taste it. It's thick. The barley has absorbed most of the liquid. You add water. Stir. Add more vegetables leeks you bought this morning. Stir again. The pottage returns to proper consistency. Dinner is ready. Customers start ordering food. Not everyone. Food costs extra. Most people just drink. But some want pottage. You serve bowls on trenchers. They eat. Nobody complains. Nobody compliments either. Pottage is fuel. Calories. Nothing more. Margaret brings you a piece of bread and a bowl of pottage. You eat standing behind the bar. You haven't eaten since that bread at breakfast. 12 hours ago. You're starving. The pottage tastes good. Everything tastes good when you're this hungry. 6 in the afternoon. The evening crowd begins arriving. Work has finished for the day. They're tired, hungry, thirsty. They want to relax before going home to their families. Or they want to avoid going home to their families. Sometimes both. The tavern fills again. 50 customers. The noise increases. The heat increases. The smell increases. Everything increases except your energy. Your energy is gone. You're running on fumes and habit. A customer calls you over. He's unhappy. His ale tastes weak. Too watery. He wants a refund or a replacement. You offer a replacement. You pour from the same barrel, more carefully this time, less water. He drinks. He's satisfied. Crisis averted. You didn't actually change anything. You just made him think you did. Customer service, medieval edition. Another customer wants to know if you have meat. Real meat. Not pottage with traces of bacon. Actual meat. Roasted or fried. You don't have meat. Meat is expensive. You'd need to buy it fresh daily. Cook it properly. Price it high enough to profit, but low enough that customers will buy it. The math doesn't work. Meat is for wealthy households and special occasions. You serve pottage and bread. That's the menu. He's disappointed. Too bad. This isn't a feast hall. Adjust your expectations. He orders more ale instead. Ale is cheaper than meat. Always. 7 in the evening. You've been working for 14 hours. You have 5 more to go. Your feet are screaming. Your back aches. Your head hurts from the noise. You smell like a combination of ale, smoke, and other people's sweat. Very attractive, peak medieval aesthetic. A musician arrives. He's got a lute. He's a travelling minstrel. He offers to perform in exchange for ale and food. You accept. Entertainment attracts customers. Customers buy drinks. Economics. He starts playing. He's actually good. The lute sounds pleasant. He sings songs about love, war, and occasionally very crude jokes. The customers love it. They're clapping, singing along to the ones they know. The mood lifts. The tavern becomes cheerful, almost fun, almost. Because now the customers are very drunk, and drunk people with elevated moods make poor decisions. You can feel the chaos building. It's like a storm approaching. Inevitable. Unstoppable. Two customers start arguing. You don't know why, you don't care why, you just know it's happening. They're yelling, standing, shoving. Margaret moves in. She separates them. Firmly, she tells them to sit down or leave. They sit. She's magic. How does she do this? You've been watching her for years, and you still don't understand her power. Respect, fear, maternal authority, some combination. It works. 8 in the evening. The minstrel finishes. Customers throw coins, a few pennies, a halfpenny. He collects them. Thanks everyone. Eats the pottage you provided, drinks the ale, leaves to perform at another tavern. He'll make his rounds. 5 taverns tonight. Smart business model, diversified income. The gambling intensifies. Dice games at 3 tables, card games at 2 more. Money changing hands constantly. Accusations of cheating increasing. Tensions rising. You're monitoring carefully, ready to intervene. A dice game explodes into argument. One man accuses another of loaded dice. Again, this is the 3rd accusation today. The accused man is offended. He's standing. The accuser is standing. They're chest to chest. Shouting. You and Margaret both move in. You grab one man. Margaret grabs the other. You physically separate them. You tell them both to calm down or get out. Permanently banned. No appeal. They calm down. Barely. They're still glaring. Still angry. But they sit. The game ends. Nobody's happy, but nobody's stabbed. Success. 9 in the evening. You're exhausted beyond description. You've served maybe 800 drinks today. Fed 200 people. Prevented 4 fights. Dealt with countless complaints. Smiled at customers you wanted to throw out. Pretended weak ale was strong. Pretended strong ale was weak. Lied about the water quality. Recycled half-finished drinks. Served food from a pot that hasn't been cleaned in a month. All while maintaining the illusion that you're running a respectable establishment. You are running a respectable establishment. By medieval standards, the bar is very low. You're meeting it. Congratulations. The evening crowd is settling in. These customers will stay until closing. Midnight. 3 more hours. They're pacing themselves, drinking steadily but not aggressively, talking, laughing, enjoying the atmosphere. A traveller enters. He's not local, you can tell by his clothes. Different style. Foreign. He asks for lodging. You have rooms. 4 rooms upstairs. 8 beds. Currently 6 are occupied. You have space. You quote him the price. 2 pence for a shared bed. 4 pence for a private bed if one's available. Private beds are rare. Usually you're doubling or tripling up. But tonight you have options. He pays for a shared bed. 2 pence. Cheaper. He doesn't care about privacy. He just needs sleep. You assign him bed 3. Room 2. He'll share with a merchant who arrived yesterday and a pilgrim heading to Canterbury who arrived this afternoon. 3 strangers, 1 bed, cosy, very intimate, very medieval hospitality. You hand him a key. Just kidding. No keys, no locks. Your rooms don't lock. Theft is a concern, but locks are expensive. Customers watch their own belongings. If something gets stolen, not your problem. Terms and conditions apply. He heads upstairs. You hope he doesn't snore. His roommates might kill him if he snores. Not your problem either. 10 in the evening. The crowd is drunk. Very drunk. They've been drinking for hours. Some since lunch. 14 hours of continuous ale consumption. They're loud, sloppy, and making increasingly terrible decisions. 2 men are having a contest. Who can drink fastest? They're chugging, cup after cup. The crowd is cheering. This is entertainment. This is also how people die. Alcohol poisoning is real. You've seen it. You try to slow them down. They ignore you. They're committed. One of them finishes his 5th cup. He stands up. Victory pose. He won. He's celebrating. He takes 2 steps. He falls. Face first. Doesn't catch himself, just falls. Hits the floor hard. The crowd goes silent. Is he dead? You rush over. You check. He's breathing. Just passed out. Unconscious, but alive. You and Thomas drag him to the corner, prop him against the wall. He'll wake up in an hour with a catastrophic headache and no memory of how he got there. Typical night at the Swan. 11 in the evening. 1 hour until closing. You can see the finish line. You're so close. Just 60 more minutes. You can do this. Probably. A fight breaks out. Finally, you've been waiting for this. Inevitable. 2 drunk customers. Argument started over nothing. Escalated quickly. Now they're swinging. Punches thrown. Both men are too drunk to aim properly. They're hitting air mostly. Occasionally each other. It's sad, more than dangerous. You grab one. Margaret grabs the other. You separate them. Again. You're done being nice. You throw them both out. Literally. Out the door. Into the street. They can fight out there. Not your problem anymore. You bar the door temporarily. Give everyone a minute to calm down. You announce loudly. Next person who starts a fight is banned for life. The tavern goes quiet. Message received. You reopen the door. Business continues. Subdued now. Nobody wants to be banned. The threat worked. You've restored order through intimidation. Leadership. Midnight. Closing time. Finally, you announce it. Last call. Finish your drinks. Go home. The Swan is closed. Customers grumble. They always grumble. They want to keep drinking. Too bad. You've been open for 19 hours. You're done. Closed. Finished. Everyone out. They drain their cups. They pay their tabs, most of them. Some promise to pay tomorrow. You note it mentally. You'll remember. You always remember who owes you money. The tavern empties. Slowly, reluctantly, but it empties. The last customer leaves. You bar the door. The Swan is closed. Silence. Beautiful silence. No talking, no laughing, no arguing, no dice, no loot. Just quiet. You could cry. You don't. Too tired. Margaret is collecting cups. Thomas is sweeping. Final clean-up. You count the money. Today's take. 8 shillings, 4 pence. That's 100 pence. Sounds good, until you subtract costs. Barley, 2 shillings. Bread, 8 pence. Vegetables, 4 pence. Margaret's wages, 4 pence. Thomas's wages, 2 pence. Firewood, 3 pence. Total costs, 3 shillings 9 pence. That's 45 pence. Profit, 4 shillings 7 pence. 55 pence. After 19 hours. After serving hundreds of people. After preventing multiple fights. After nearly dying of exhaustion. 55 pence profit. This is your life. This is medieval business. The margins are terrible. But you survived. Day 1 complete. Tomorrow you'll do it all again. And the day after. And the day after. Forever. Until you die, or sell the tavern, or burn it down for the insurance money. Medieval insurance fraud. Very tempting. You're too tired to think about it. You climb the stairs. You have a small room. Private. Owner's privilege. You collapse on your bed. Straw mattress. Lumpy. Uncomfortable. Paradise right now. You're asleep before you can think about tomorrow. Unconscious. Dead to the world. Living the dream. The medieval tavern keeper dream. Which is actually a nightmare. But it's yours. Day 1 is over. Welcome to the rest of your life. Day 2 begins exactly like day 1. 5 in the morning. Dark. Cold. You drag yourself out of bed after maybe 5 hours of sleep. Your body hurts. Everything hurts. Your feet, your back, your shoulders, your head. This is chronic pain. Medieval edition. No ibuprofen. No heating pads. No physical therapy. Just suffering and persistence. You stumble downstairs. The tavern is cold. The fire died down overnight. You rebuild it. Add wood. Blow on the embers. The fire catches. Heat begins to spread. Another day at the Swan begins. Margaret arrives. She looks as tired as you feel. She's been doing this for 20 years. How is she still alive? Built different. Genuinely. Most people don't survive to 40 in 1350. She's survived to 40 while working in taverns. She's basically immortal. Thomas arrives. He's 12 and somehow has more energy than both of you combined. Youth. Unfair. He starts hauling wood, filling buckets, preparing for the day. He'll crash around 3 in the afternoon, but right now he's unstoppable. Today is brewing day. You have to start a new batch. The current supply is running low. You used 3 barrels yesterday. You have 7 barrels left in various stages of readiness. Some ready to serve. Some still fermenting, some just started. The brewing cycle is constant, relentless, eternal. You head to the cellar with Thomas. Time to brew. Medieval brewing is an art form, a precise art form with zero precision. You're working with inconsistent ingredients, no temperature control, no sterilization, and techniques passed down through generations of trial and error, mostly error. The mortality rate for bad batches is high. Not human mortality, ale mortality, though bad ale can kill people too. Indirectly. Through riots when customers discover you've sold them terrible product. You need supplies. You check your stores. Barley. Adequate. You have half a sack left. About £50. That'll make 2 batches. You'll need to buy more barley next week. Barley prices are rising. Supply and demand. Bad harvest last year means expensive grain this year. Your costs are increasing. Your prices can't increase much, or customers revolt. Your profit margin is getting squeezed from both sides. Economics is trying to murder you. Water. Unlimited, technically. You get it from the well that's definitely contaminated with sewage, but nobody knows about germ theory, so it's fine. The water is terrible, but it's wet and free. You'll take it. Brew it. Running low. You need more herbs. Yarrow, bog myrtle, heather. You'll have to visit the herb cellar at market tomorrow. Gruit is expensive, like genuinely expensive. The herb mixture costs more than the barley sometimes, but you need it. Without Groot, your ale tastes like bread water. With Groot, it tastes like bread water, with personality. Barely an improvement, but customers notice. Yeast. You don't buy yeast, you reuse it. You scrape it from the last batch and add it to the new batch. This is standard practice. Everyone does this. You're essentially using great-great-great-great-grandparent yeast. Medieval sourdough starter energy. The yeast is probably mutating. Definitely contaminated with wild yeasts and bacteria. This is why every batch tastes slightly different. Consistency, never heard of her. You begin. First step, malting. Just kidding. You don't do that. Malting takes days. You buy pre-malted barley from a specialist. Division of labour. They malt. You brew. Everyone stays in their lane. You take 20 pounds of malted barley. You crush it. By crush, I mean you and Thomas take turns hitting it with wooden mallets in a large barrel, smashing grain into smaller pieces. Manual labour. Very therapeutic. Very exhausting. You crush for 30 minutes. Your arms are screaming. Thomas takes over. He crushes. You rest. Teamwork. The barley is crushed. Good enough. Some pieces are powder, some pieces are still whole. Inconsistent particle size means inconsistent extraction. Your ale will be weaker in some batches, stronger in others. Customers will complain either way. This is fine. Next, mashing. You heat water in a large copper kettle over the fire. The kettle holds 20 gallons. You're making a 20-gallon batch. That'll fill 2 10-gallon barrels. 2 barrels will last 2 days at current consumption rates. The math is depressing. The water heats. You don't have a thermometer. You judge temperature by sight and feel. When the water is hot enough, approximately 160 to 170 degrees, though you don't know that you add the crushed barley, the mixture becomes thick, porridge-like. You stir constantly. Stirring is critical. If you don't stir, the barley clumps and burns on the bottom, and your batch tastes like charred grain and failure. You stir for an hour. Your arms want to fall off. Thomas helps. You take turns. Stir, rest, stir, rest. The mashing is converting starches in the barley into sugars. Enzymes are breaking down complex carbohydrates into simple fermentable sugars. You don't know this. You just know if you heat grain and water and stir a lot, eventually it becomes sweet liquid. Magic. Medieval chemistry without the chemistry. After an hour, you let it rest. The grain settles to the bottom. The sweet liquid called wort sits on top. You carefully ladle the wort into a barrel. Clearish liquid, golden brown, smells sweet and grainy. Perfect. You add more hot water to the grain. Second runnings, extract more sugars. More wort. Weaker this time, but still usable. You ladle this into the barrel too. Maximum efficiency. You're getting every possible ounce of sugar from this grain. Waste not. The wort is ready. Now you boil it. Back into the kettle. You boil for 2 hours. Why 2 hours? Tradition. Also, boiling sterilizes the liquid. You don't know about sterilization. You just know boiled wort makes better ale than unboiled wort. Empirical observation. Science without knowing it's science. During the boil, you add Groot, your secret blend, mostly yarrow and bog myrtle. A little heather for flavour. The herbs add bitterness to balance the sweetness. They also have mild preservative properties. Mild, very mild. Your ale will still go bad in 3 days. The gruit just delays the inevitable. The tavern is open now. Margaret is handling the morning customers alone. You can hear the noise upstairs. Voices, laughter, cups clattering. Business as usual. You're stuck in the cellar stirring boiling wort. The glamorous life of a tavern keeper. 2 hours of boiling, done. You remove the kettle from the fire. The wort needs to cool before you add yeast. Hot liquid kills yeast. You learnt this the hard way. You once added yeast to hot wort and killed an entire batch. 20 gallons of expensive failure. You drank the loss. Literally and financially. Cooling takes hours. You leave the kettle in the cellar. Cool air. Stone walls. The temperature drops slowly. You'll check it later. You have a tavern to run. You head upstairs. The morning crowd is light. 20 customers. Margaret has it under control. You relieve her. She takes a break. Sits. Eats. Rests her feet. She's earned it. You serve customers. Pour ale. Take money. Smile. Pretend you're not exhausted from 2 hours of brewing labour before the regular workday even started. Customer service. A regular named Edmund arrives. He's a fishmonger. He smells like fish. Strongly. The entire tavern smells like fish when he's here. Other customers complain. You can't ban him. He's a paying customer. You just seat him downwind and hope for the best. He orders ale. You pour. He drinks. He starts talking about fish prices. Cod is expensive. Herring is cheap. Eel is somewhere in between. You nod politely. You don't care about fish prices. You're not buying fish. You can't afford fish. But Edmund likes to talk, and talking customers buy more ale. So you listen. Business strategy. 10 in the morning. You check the wort. Still too hot. You wait. 11. Still too hot. You wait more. Noon. Finally cool enough. You test it with your finger. Lukewarm. Perfect. Time for yeast. You scrape yeast from the previous batch. Thick, beige sludge at the bottom of an empty barrel. This sludge contains millions of yeast cells, plus bacteria, plus wild yeast, plus probably some mold, plus definitely some contamination. You don't know any of this. You just know this sludge makes ale happen. You add the yeast sludge to the cooled wort. You stir. The yeast disperses through the liquid. Now you wait. Fermentation takes 3 to 4 days. The yeast will consume the sugars, produce alcohol and carbon dioxide, and transform sweet grain water into ale. Alchemy. Medieval biotechnology. Very impressive for people who think disease is caused by bad air. You seal the barrel. Not tightly. Fermentation produces gas. If you seal it tightly, the barrel explodes. You learn this the hard way too. The explosion covered the entire cellar in sticky ale. Cleanup took 2 days. You lost the batch and your dignity. Now you seal loosely. Lessons learned through catastrophic failure. The brewing is done. For today. You'll start another batch tomorrow. And the next day. And the next. The cycle never ends. You're a brewer who runs a tavern. Or a tavern keeper who brews. Both. Neither. You're just tired. Back upstairs. The lunch rush is building. 40 customers. Margaret is sprinting between tables. You jump back in. Pour, serve, collect money, repeat. A customer complains. His ale tastes off. Sour. You taste it. He's right. This barrel has turned. The ale is spoiling. It's only 2 days old, but it's already going bad. Summer heat. Warm temperatures accelerate spoilage. You have maybe 6 hours before this entire barrel is undrinkable. You apologize. You pour him ale from a different barrel. Fresh batch. He tastes it. Satisfied. Crisis averted. But now, you have a problem. You have 8 gallons of ale that's turning sour. You can't sell sour ale. The ale conners will fine you. Customers will riot. Your reputation will suffer. You have options. Option 1. Dump it. Total loss. 10 shillings of barley and labour gone. Your profit margin just became your loss margin. Unacceptable. Option 2. Sell it anyway. Water it down heavily. Mix it with fresh ale. Hope customers don't notice. Risky. If they notice, you're in trouble. Big trouble. Pillory trouble. The pillory is a wooden restraint device. They lock your head and hands in it and leave you in the public square for hours while people throw rotten vegetables and insults at you. Very humiliating. Very bad for business. Option 3. Sell it cheap. Discount ale. Clearance. Sale. People will buy anything if it's cheap enough. You price it at half cost. Customers can choose. Full price fresh ale or half price questionable ale. Let them decide. Capitalism. You go with option 3. You announce, special today, cheap ale, half price, first come first served. The tavern goes wild. Cheap ale, they're interested. Very interested. 8 customers immediately switch to the discount batch. They don't care that it's sour, it's cheap. That's all that matters. The barrel empties in 2 hours. You've converted a loss into a smaller loss. Not quite a profit, but not a catastrophe. You'll take it. You've successfully sold inferior product at reduced prices while maintaining customer satisfaction. Business school would be proud. Historical records from 1350 London note that tavern keepers frequently sold spoiling ale at reduced prices rather than suffer total loss. You're not alone in this practice. Everyone does it. The whole industry is built on selling questionable beverages to people who can't afford better. Economics. 2 in the afternoon. A city official enters. He's wearing nice clothes, official robes. He looks important. He is important. He's an ale conner, the inspector, the regulator, the person who can fine you into bankruptcy. Your heart sinks. You've just sold 8 gallons of sour ale. If he finds out, you're cooked. Actually cooked. You might end up in the pillory. You might end up banned from brewing. You might lose your business license. He approaches the bar. He announces he's here for an inspection. Routine check. He wants to test your ale. You have 2 barrels tapped. One fresh, one getting old. You pour from the fresh barrel, obviously. You hand him a cup. He drinks. He considers. He's silent. You're sweating. Margaret is watching. Thomas has stopped moving. The entire tavern is watching. He nods. Acceptable. The ale meets standards. You're legal. You pass. You exhale. Relief. Massive relief. You offer him a free cup. Generosity. Also bribery. He accepts. He drinks. He leaves. Inspection complete. The tavern returns to normal. Margaret smiles. You smile. Thomas smiles. You've survived the ale conner. This is worth celebrating. You pour yourself a cup. You drink. You've earned it. 3 in the afternoon. The adrenaline from the inspection wears off. The exhaustion returns. You've been awake for 10 hours. You've brewed 20 gallons of ale, served 200 customers, survived an official inspection, and managed to sell spoiling product without getting caught. Successful day, terrible day, both. A merchant arrives. He's wealthy. You can tell by his clothing. Silk trim on his coat, gold ring on his finger, leather boots with silver buckles. He's carrying a money purse that probably contains more than you make in a month. He orders ale. You serve him your best. The freshest batch. You charge him double. He doesn't notice. Rich people don't notice prices. They just pay. This is how you supplement your thin profit margins. Charge the wealthy more. They don't care. They have money. He drinks. He's meeting someone. Another merchant arrives, also wealthy. They sit together. They discuss business. Loud enough for everyone to hear. They're importing spices from the east. pepper, cinnamon, cloves. Selling in London for massive profits. They're making more money on one shipment than you'll make in 10 years. You're slightly jealous, very jealous, completely jealous. They're sitting in your tavern, drinking your ale, making deals worth fortunes while you're struggling to profit 50 pence a day. The wealth inequality is staggering. But they're customers. They're buying drinks. They might buy food. They might stay for hours. They might spend a whole shilling. You'll take their money and be grateful. Class warfare can wait. 4 in the afternoon. You check the fermenting wort. You open the barrel carefully. Foam on top. Good sign. The fermentation is active. You can hear it bubbling. Tiny fizzing sounds. The yeast is working, converting sugar to alcohol, making ale. Beautiful. You smell it. Yeasty. Sweet. Slightly alcoholic. Perfect. This batch will be ready in 3 days. Just in time to replace the barrels you're currently serving. The cycle continues. You return upstairs. The afternoon regulars are arriving. Same people, same time, same seats, predictable, comfortable. These customers are the backbone of your business. You know their names. You know their orders. You know their problems. John's wife is pregnant. Robert's son is sick. Edmund's fishing boat needs repairs. You know everything because they tell you everything. The tavern keeper is therapist, confidant, and friend. Unpaid therapist, but friend nonetheless. 5 in the afternoon. A Brewers Guild representative arrives. He wants to talk. The guild regulates brewing in London. They set standards. They enforce quality. They also collect fees. Monthly fees for the privilege of brewing. The fees fund the guild. The guild funds itself. Circular economics. You owe this month's fee. 2 shillings. You pay. He marks it in his ledger. You're current. You're legal. You're allowed to continue brewing. For now. Next month you'll owe another 2 shillings. Forever. The fees never stop. The guild never stops. Regulatory capture, medieval style. He mentions the guild is raising fees next month. 2 shillings and 6 pence. That's an extra 6 pence. Your costs are increasing again. Your prices can't increase. Your profit margin is being crushed. You smile. You nod. You scream internally. You pay. You have no choice. He leaves. You're poorer. The cycle of medieval taxation continues. The crown taxes you. The guild taxes you. The church expects tithes. Everyone wants a piece of your 50 pence daily profit. What's left is barely enough to survive. But you survive. Persistence. 6 in the evening. You need to tap a new barrel. The current one is almost empty. You head to the cellar. You select a barrel that's been fermenting for 4 days. Should be ready. You tap it. You pour a sample. You taste. It's good, strong, flavourful. The gruit blend worked perfectly. The fermentation was successful. This is quality ale by 1350 standards, which means it's terrible by modern standards but excellent by medieval standards. Context matters. You roll the barrel upstairs. You position it behind the bar. New ale is ready. You announce it. Fresh batch. The customers cheer. New ale is exciting. Variety. Something different. Even though it tastes almost identical to the old ale. But perception is reality. 7 in the evening. The evening crowd is building. Workers finished for the day. They're tired. They're thirsty. They want to drink away the stress of medieval labour. 14-hour workdays, 6 days a week. No labour laws. No overtime pay. No benefits. Just work until you die. The ale helps. Temporarily, insufficiently, but it helps. The tavern is full. 60 customers. The noise is incredible. Everyone's talking, shouting, laughing, arguing. The acoustics amplify everything. The timber building is basically a giant echo chamber. You can't hear yourself think. This is normal. Margaret is handling the dining area. You're handling the bar. Thomas is washing cups. The 3 of you are barely keeping up. The demand is overwhelming. If you had more staff, you could serve more customers. But staff costs money. You can't afford more staff. You're maxed out on labour budget. So you struggle. You always struggle. A customer asks about the brewing. He wants to know how you make ale. You explain, briefly. Barley, water, herbs. Yeast. Time. He's interested. He's thinking about brewing himself. Home brewing is legal, common, even. Most households brew their own ale. They have to. Water is unsafe. Ale is safer. Everyone drinks ale. Everyone brews ale. Some people just do it professionally. You encourage him. Brewing is easy, theoretically. Practically it's complicated and full of opportunities for catastrophic failure, but you encourage him anyway. If he starts home brewing, he might stop buying from you. But he might also fail spectacularly and return as a customer who appreciates your skill. Marketing. 8 in the evening, a fight breaks out. You saw it coming. 2 customers arguing about politics. England versus France. The war. Who's winning? Who's losing? National pride. Masculine posturing. Alcohol. Bad combination. They're standing, yelling, shoving. One throws a punch, connects, the other punches back. Also connects. Now they're fighting, really fighting, fists flying, tables knocked over, benches scattering, other customers backing away. Entertainment. You and Margaret move in. You grab one fighter, Margaret grabs the other. You separate them, physically. You're strong from years of hauling barrels. Margaret is strong from years of breaking up fights. You both hold firm. You ban them both. 1 week, they're furious. They protest. You don't care. Rules are rules. Fighting means bans, no exceptions. They leave. Angry. Bitter. They'll be back in a week. They always come back. The tavern settles. You right the overturned furniture. Margaret sweeps up broken ceramics. 1 cup shattered. You'll charge both fighters for it. 2 pence each. Violence tax. 9 in the evening. You're beyond exhausted. You've been awake for 16 hours. You've brewed ale, served hundreds of customers, survived an inspection, paid guild fees, and broken up a fight. You still have 3 hours until closing. Your body is begging for sleep. Too bad. Sleep is for midnight. Right now is for working. The gambling intensifies. Dice games everywhere. Money changing hands. Accusations flying. Tensions building. You monitor carefully, ready to intervene. Again. A beggar appears at the door. Different beggar from yesterday. This one is young, maybe 20. He's thin. Hungry. He asks for food. You give him bread. Hard bread. The bread nobody wants. He's grateful. He asks for ale. You give him half a cup. Watered down to transparency. Basically coloured water. He drinks it, thanks you, leaves. Charity continues. Good for your soul. Good for your reputation. Expensive for your bottom line. But necessary. The church teaches charity. The community expects charity. You provide charity. Reluctantly. Strategically. 10 in the evening. 2 hours left. The crowd is very drunk. They've been drinking for hours. Some for days. The professional drinkers. The alcoholics. Medieval addiction is real and completely untreated. No rehab. No AA meetings. No support systems. Just drink until you die. Many do. 1 customer is unconscious. Again. Face down on a table. Again. Different customer than yesterday. Same situation. You check. Still breathing. You leave him. He'll wake up eventually. Probably. 11 in the evening. Final hour. The crowd thins. People leave. Work tomorrow. Responsibilities. Life. The last customers are the hardcore regulars. The men who drink every night until closing. The men who have nowhere else to be. The men who avoid going home. The men who avoid going home. The men who drink every night. You know their stories. Failed marriages. Lost offspring. Crushing debt. Medieval life is hard. The tavern is escape. Temporary. Insufficient. But something. You provide that something. You're not just serving ale. You're serving comfort, community, connection. The business is more than business. You're a bartender, a therapist, a friend, a witness to suffering. You listen. You pour. You care. You're exhausted, but you care. Midnight. Closing time. You announce it. The last customers drain their cups. They pay. They leave. The Swan is closed. Silence. Beautiful silence. 2 nights in a row. You could get used to this. You won't. Tomorrow will be exactly the same. You count the money. Today's take, 8 shillings, 2 pence. Slightly less than yesterday. Costs were higher because of guild fees. Profit, 4 shillings, 48 pence. Lower than yesterday. The trend is bad. But you survived. You brewed. You served. You managed. 2 days down. Forever to go. You climb the stairs. You collapse. You sleep. Tomorrow begins in 5 hours. The brewing never stops. The serving never stops. The exhaustion never stops. Welcome to running a medieval tavern, where the ale is terrible, the profit margins are worse, and the work never ends. At least the beer is flowing. Questionable beer, but flowing nonetheless. Day 3. Same routine. 5 in the morning. Dark. Cold. Pain. You're developing a pattern. Wake up hurting. Work all day. Go to sleep hurting. Repeat until death. Medieval work-life balance is a joke. The joke is on you. Today, you need to deal with the upstairs. The lodging rooms. 4 rooms. 8 beds. Currently occupied by travellers, merchants, pilgrims, and probably at least one criminal. You rent beds for 2 pence per night if shared, 4 pence if private. The income is steady. The problems are constant. You climb the stairs. The second floor smells different than the main room. Worse, actually. Possible. The smell is a combination of unwashed bodies, chamber pots, stale air, and desperation. Travel in 1350 is brutal. People arrive filthy, exhausted, and sometimes diseased. They sleep in your beds. They leave their germs, their dirt, and occasionally their belongings when they flee without paying. Room 1, you knock. No answer. You open the door. 2 beds, 4 occupants, all still sleeping. It's 5 in the morning. Normal people sleep until dawn. You're not normal. You're a tavern keeper. You don't get to sleep until dawn. You check the beds, looking for problems. Bedbugs are a constant issue. You can't eliminate them. Nobody can. Bedbugs are everywhere. Every bed in London has bedbugs. Some beds have more than others. You try to keep your beds on the fewer bedbugs end of the spectrum. You're failing. The beds are infested. You can see them crawling. Tiny brown dots, hundreds of them. The occupants are getting eaten alive in their sleep. They don't know yet. They'll know when they wake up covered in bites. They'll complain. You'll apologise. You'll offer nothing. Because there's nothing to offer. Bedbugs are a fact of medieval life. Deal with it. Everyone else does. You move to room 2. This is the private room. 1 bed, 1 occupant, a merchant, wealthy enough to afford privacy. He's awake, sitting up, counting money. He's got a small chest of coins. Silver. Maybe gold. He's rich. Very rich. Dangerously rich. Carrying that much money in medieval London is asking to be robbed. He notices you. He quickly closes the chest. Suspicious. He thinks you're planning to rob him. You're not. You're a legitimate business owner. Mostly. You assure him. You're just checking on guests. Making sure everyone's comfortable. Customer service. He's not comfortable. He barely slept. The bed has bedbugs. Of course it does. He's covered in bites. He's furious. He paid 4 pence for a private room, and he got eaten alive by insects. He wants a refund. You offer a discount on breakfast instead. No refund. Refunds would bankrupt you. He accepts reluctantly. He's leaving today anyway, heading north. He won't be back. Fine. One-time customers complain the most and tip the least. Good riddance. Room 3. You knock. A woman answers. She's a pilgrim, heading to Canterbury. Religious journey. She's travelling alone. Dangerous. Women travelling alone get robbed, assaulted, or worse. She's brave or desperate, or both. She's sharing a bed with another woman traveller. Safety in numbers. Smart. She asks if you have food. You do. Bread and pottage. She'll take both. She pays in advance. 2 pence for the meal. You take the money. You'll send Thomas up with food later. Room 4. You knock. No answer. You knock louder. Still no answer. You open the door carefully. 2 beds. 3 occupants. All unconscious. Drunk. They came in late last night. Drank until closing. Staggered upstairs. Collapsed. Classic travellers. One of them is snoring. Loudly. The sound is incredible. Like a saw cutting through wood. How are the other two sleeping through this? Mystery. Or they're also drunk enough to sleep through anything. Probably that. You close the door. Let them sleep. They'll wake up eventually. Probably around noon. Hungover. Miserable. They'll stumble downstairs. Order ale to cure the hangover. Hair of the dog. Medieval medicine. It doesn't work, but they'll try anyway. You head back downstairs. The lodging inspection is complete. Everyone's alive. Nobody's robbed anyone yet. No fires, no fights. Successful night. Low bar, but you're clearing it. Margaret is preparing for the day. Thomas is starting the fire. The routine continues. Open at 6. Serve until midnight. 18 hours of constant work. The grind never stops. 6 in the morning. First, customers arrive. Labourers. Early risers. They want breakfast. You serve. Bread and ale. Standard. They eat quickly. Pay. Leave for work. Fast turnaround. Efficient. The lodgers start appearing. The drunk trio from room 4 stumbles down around 7. They look terrible. Pale. Sweating. Shaking slightly. Hangovers. They order ale. You serve. They drink. Slowly. Painfully. They're in agony. Self-inflicted agony. No sympathy. The pilgrim woman comes down. She eats her bread and pottage. She's leaving this morning. Early start. Canterbury is a week's walk. She needs to make miles today. She pays for her stay. 2 pence for the bed. She thanks you. Polite. Nice customer. You wish her safe travels. You mean it. The roads are dangerous. Bandits. Thieves. Wild animals. She might not make it. Many pilgrims don't. The wealthy merchant comes down. Still angry about bedbugs. He eats breakfast. Free breakfast. The discount you promised. He eats in silence. Bitter. He pays his room fee. 4 pence. He leaves. You'll never see him again. The feeling is mutual. By 8 in the morning, all the rooms are empty. Checkout complete. Now you need to prepare for tonight's guests. The rooms need attention. The beds need changing. The chamber pots need emptying. The floors need sweeping. Maintenance. You send Thomas upstairs with fresh straw for the beds. Fresh is relative. It's straw from the stable. It smells like horses, but it's cleaner than the current straw, which smells like humans and bedbugs and regret. You're upgrading from terrible to slightly less terrible. Progress. Thomas strips the beds. The old straw goes into the street. Garbage disposal, medieval style. Just throw it out the window. Someone else's problem now. The street is already full of garbage. A little more won't hurt. The city is basically an open-air landfill. This is normal. He spreads new straw on the bed frames. Thick layer, comfortable-ish. The bedbugs will migrate to the new straw within hours. You can't stop them. You've tried. Everything. Nothing works. The bedbugs are winning the war. Total domination. You've surrendered. You just manage the infestation now. Damage control. Margaret is handling the chamber pots. The worst job in the tavern. The pots are ceramic bowls. People use them at night. For everything. Urine. Feces. Sometimes vomit. The contents are horrific. Margaret empties them into the street. Same as the straw. Out the window. Into the gutter. The gutter flows theoretically toward the Thames. Eventually. The city's waste management system is gravity and hope. The smell during chamber pot emptying is indescribable. The entire tavern reeks. Customers complain. You apologise. You keep serving. Business continues through the stench. Medieval customers have strong stomachs. They have to. Everything smells terrible all the time. You become desensitized. 9 in the morning, the rooms are ready. Beds, refreshed. Chamber pots, empty. Floors, swept. You're ready for tonight's guests. Hopefully they'll be less problematic than last night's. Hopefully, doubtful, but hopeful. A group arrives at the door. 5 men, travellers. They're looking for lodging. Tonight, you have space. 4 rooms, 8 beds. You can accommodate them. You quote prices. 2 pence per bed if shared. They agree. 5 men, 3 beds. You'll put 2 in one bed, 2 in another. One gets a bed to himself. Random assignment. They don't care. They're exhausted from travelling. They'll sleep anywhere. They pay in advance. Smart. You've had too many people skip without paying. Morning payment only. Now they're paid for tonight. They can drink all day, knowing their bed is secured. They immediately order ale. Excellent. Paying lodgers who drink are the best customers. Double revenue stream. They're travelling from Dover. Just arrived in London this morning. They've been walking for 3 days. Dover to London is 60 miles. 20 miles per day. Brutal pace. They're merchants. Cloth traders. They're here to sell wool, buy finished cloth, trade goods, business. They're also carrying money, you can tell. They're nervous, watching their bags, hands near their belts. They're worried about theft. Justified worry. London is full of thieves. Taverns especially. Criminals love taverns. Drunk people make easy targets. You assure them. The Swan is safe. You watch your customers. You maintain order. Theft is rare. This is mostly true. You do watch for thieves. You catch most of them. Most. Not all. But you're better than other taverns. Reputation matters. They relax slightly. They drink. They'll drink all day. Then sleep upstairs. Then leave tomorrow to do business. Simple. Profitable. You love merchant travellers. 10 in the morning. More potential lodgers arrive. A couple. Married. Travelling together. Unusual. Most travellers are men. Women travelling is rare. Married couples travelling together is very rare. They're going to visit family. York. That's 200 miles north. Week-long journey. Maybe more. Medieval travel is slow. Roads are terrible. Weather is unpredictable. Bandits are common. They might die on the road. People do. Frequently. They want a private room. They're willing to pay 4 pence. You give them room too. The room the merchant just vacated. The one with bedbugs. They don't know about the bedbugs yet. They'll find out tonight. They'll complain tomorrow. You'll apologise tomorrow. Today they're happy. Enjoy it while it lasts. They pay. They settle in upstairs. They come down for ale. They're celebrating. Anniversary. Married 5 years. 3 living offspring. Lost 2 to disease. Standard medieval statistics. Infant mortality is catastrophic. 1 in 3 don't survive to age 5. This couple is lucky. 3 survivors out of 5 births. Better than average. You congratulate them. The anniversary, not the dead offspring. You serve them ale. They drink. They're happy. Briefly, the memory of dead offspring haunts them. You can see it. The sadness behind the smiles. Medieval life is grief interspersed with moments of joy. Everyone's traumatized. Nobody talks about it. You just drink and pretend everything's fine. 11 in the morning. All 4 rooms are booked for tonight. 8 beds, 11 people total. You're over capacity. This means extra income. This also means extra problems. More people means more complaints, more demands, more chamber pot contents, more bedbugs, more noise, but more money. You'll take the problems with the money. The lunch rush begins. The tavern fills. Lodgers plus regulars plus random customers. 70 people. You're at capacity. The room is packed. The heat is rising. The smell is evolving. Margaret is sprinting. Thomas is drowning in dishes. You're pouring continuously. The chaos is maximal. A lodger from upstairs, one of the merchant traders, comes down. He's been robbed. His bag was in his room. He left it there, went downstairs for lunch. Came back. The bag is gone. His money, his goods, everything, stolen. He's furious. He's yelling, "This is your fault. You promised security. You failed." He wants compensation. He wants his money back. He's threatening to report you to the city authorities. You investigate. You go upstairs. The room is empty. No bag. No sign of forced entry. But the window is open. Someone climbed through the window. From outside. Climbed up to the 2nd floor. Entered through the window. Took the bag. Left. Professional thief. Experienced. This wasn't random. This was planned. You return downstairs. You explain. The thief came through the window, not through the tavern. You're not responsible for external break-ins. You sympathise. You offer a free meal. You offer nothing else. He's not satisfied. He wants money. You refuse. You didn't steal from him. You're not liable. He needs to report this to the City Watch. They won't help. They don't help. Theft is constant. The watch is understaffed and corrupt. But he needs to report it anyway. Official record, insurance, medieval bureaucracy. He leaves, angry, bitter. He'll tell other merchants, the Swan isn't safe. Your reputation will suffer. But what can you do? You can't prevent window break-ins. You're not a fortress. You're a tavern. You provide beds and ale. Security is not included. Terms and conditions apply. The other lodgers are nervous now. Their money is at risk. They want reassurance. You offer locks. Just kidding. You don't have locks. You offer vigilance. You'll watch the rooms. Thomas will check periodically. This is barely helpful, but it's something. One lodger decides to carry his money with him. All the time. Even to the privy. Smart. Inconvenient. But smart. He's not getting robbed through a window. If the money is on his person, he might get robbed in the street. But not in his room. Noon. The robbery incident has dampened the mood. Everyone's suspicious. Watching each other. Watching their belongings. The tavern atmosphere has shifted from cheerful to paranoid. Great for business. People drinking nervously buy more ale. Alcohol helps with anxiety. Temporarily. Insufficiently. They keep ordering. You're serving continuously, pouring, collecting money, making change, medieval mental math, no calculators, no written receipts, just memory and trust. You keep track of who paid, who owes, who's drinking on credit, complex accounting, all in your head. You make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, but you're mostly accurate. Good enough. 1 in the afternoon. A city official arrives. Different official. Not an ale conner. This one is collecting taxes. Hearth tax. Every building with a hearth owes tax. You have a hearth. A big one. You owe tax. Annual tax. Due today. You pay. 3 shillings. That's 36 pence. Your entire day's profit from yesterday. Gone. To taxes. Your profit margin just became your loss margin. You're now operating at a loss for the week. You need 3 excellent days to recover. You probably won't get 3 excellent days. The official takes your money. He marks it in his ledger. You're legal. For now, next year, you'll owe again. Forever. The taxes never stop. The crown needs money. Constant money. For the war, for the court, for everything. You're funding the kingdom 1 3-shilling payment at a time. He leaves. You're poorer. Again. Medieval life is a series of people taking your money. Customers give you money. Officials take it. The difference is your profit. The difference is shrinking. 2 in the afternoon. You're exhausted. You've been working for 9 hours. You have 10 more to go. Your feet hurt. Your back hurts. Your soul hurts. You want to sit down. You can't. Customers need service. Margaret needs help. The tavern needs running. You're the owner. This is your responsibility. Your burden. Your choice. Sort of. You inherited this. You didn't choose it. But you're stuck with it now. A fight almost breaks out. 2 lodgers. The merchant traders. They're arguing. About business. One claims the other shortchanged him on a previous deal. The other denies it. Voices rising. Hands. Gesturing. Aggression building. You intervene. Immediately. No fighting. Not in your tavern. Not ever. You separate them. You tell them to settle their business dispute elsewhere. Outside. In the street. At a lawyer's office. Anywhere but here. They comply. Grudgingly. They return to their seats. The tension remains. You're watching them. Carefully. This could reignite. Easily. Business disputes turn violent constantly. Money makes people aggressive. Medieval capitalism is brutal. 3 in the afternoon. You check on the fermenting ale. The batch from yesterday is progressing nicely. Bubbling. Smelling. Yeasty. On schedule. You'll tap it tomorrow. Just in time to replace the barrel you're currently serving. The cycle continues. Endless brewing. Endless serving. Endless repetition. You also check your supplies. Barley. Running low. You need to buy more. The market is open tomorrow. You'll go early. Before the tavern opens, buy 50 pounds of barley. That's 2 more batches. 1 week's supply. Cost, 4 shillings. Your profit from 2 days, your entire margin, consumed by ingredients. Grew it. Almost gone. You need herbs, yarrow, bog, myrtle, heather. The herb seller will want a shilling. Expensive, but necessary. Without gruit, your ale tastes like wet bread. With gruit, it tastes like wet bread with character. Improvement. 4 in the afternoon. The lodgers are settling in. Some are napping upstairs, recovering from travel. Others are drinking downstairs, socialising, networking. Taverns are where business happens. Deals are made, contracts are negotiated, partnerships are formed. All over ale, your terrible ale, but ale nonetheless. 2 merchants are discussing a joint venture. Wool export. They're pooling resources, sharing risk, splitting profits. They shake hands. Deal made. No lawyers, no written contracts. Just a handshake and witnesses. Medieval business law is trust-based. It works surprisingly often. Until it doesn't. Then, violence. 5 in the evening, dinner time. Lodgers want food. You serve pottage, same pottage from yesterday. You've been adding to it. More vegetables, more water, more barley. The base layer is 3 days old now. This is fine. Cooking kills everything. Probably. Nobody's died yet. Success. They eat. Nobody complains. The pottage is hot and filling. That's all food needs to be. Nutrition. Calories. Survival. Medieval cuisine is function over form. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're trying to keep people alive. Mission accomplished. 6 in the evening. The evening crowd arrives. Workers finished for the day. They mix with the lodgers. The tavern is full. 80 people. Beyond capacity. Fire hazard. Not that fire codes exist, but if they did, you'd be violating them catastrophically. The noise is unbelievable. 80 people talking, laughing, arguing, singing. The acoustics amplify everything. Your head is pounding. The sound is physical. You can feel it. Vibrations, pressure, pain. Margaret looks exhausted. She's been working for 13 hours. No break except 5 minutes to eat. She's 40. This job is killing her. Slowly, steadily. She'll probably die in her 50s. If she's lucky, most tavern workers don't make it that long. The labour is too hard. The conditions are too harsh. The stress is too much. You want to give her a break, a real break, an hour off. But you can't. You need her. The tavern needs her. Without Margaret, you can't function. She's essential. Irreplaceable. Underpaid. You feel guilty. You keep working. She keeps working. The guilt remains. 7 in the evening. A lodger complains. The couple in room 2. They've discovered the bedbugs. They're covered in bites. Itching. Miserable. They want a different room. You don't have a different room. All rooms have bedbugs. You explain this, gently, apologetically. Bedbugs are everywhere. Every inn, every tavern, every home. London is infested. The entire city. There's no escape. They're not satisfied. They want a refund. You offer a discount on tomorrow's breakfast. No refund. Refunds are impossible. They accept the discount, unhappily. They return upstairs. Scratching, miserable. They'll leave tomorrow. They'll tell everyone. The Swan has bedbugs. True, but so does everywhere else. You're not special, just honest. 8 in the evening. The gambling is intense. 5 separate dice games. Money everywhere. Accusations flying. One game erupts into argument. Loaded dice. Again, always loaded dice. The accused man is offended. He's standing. The accuser is standing. They're shouting. Margaret moves in. She's faster than you. She separates them. She confiscates the dice. She'll examine them later. Determine if they're actually loaded. Probably. But maybe not. Doesn't matter. The game is over. Crisis averted. The accused man protests. Those are his dice. His property. Margaret doesn't care. She pockets them. He can get them back when he leaves. Maybe. If she remembers. If she doesn't sell them. Margaret has a side business selling confiscated gambling equipment. Entrepreneurship, you approve. 9 in the evening. 3 hours left. You're running on fumes. Pure willpower. Muscle memory. You've done this so many times, your body knows what to do, even when your brain has shut down. Pour, serve, collect, smile, repeat, automation. A lodger asks about breakfast tomorrow. What time? What's included? You explain. Breakfast starts at 6. Bread and ale, included in room price. Pottage costs extra, 2 pence. He's satisfied. He'll be there. Another lodger asks about the privy. Where is it? You point. Outside. Back of the building. Shared facility. Hole in the ground. No door. No privacy. No toilet paper. Just a hole and hope. Medieval bathroom experience. He's horrified. He was hoping for better. Dream on. This is standard. Every tavern has the same setup. Outdoor privy. Communal. Disgusting. You're not special. You're typical. 10 in the evening. The crowd is very drunk. Hours of continuous drinking. They're loud. Sloppy. Making poor decisions. One man tries to stand. Falls. Catches himself on a table. The table wobbles but holds. He tries again. Falls again. Thomas helps him to a bench. He sits. Safer. Less falling risk. Another man is singing. Badly. Very badly. Off key. Wrong lyrics. Drunk singing. The other customers join in. Now everyone's singing. Different songs. Simultaneously, the result is chaos. Musical chaos. Terrible chaos. But happy chaos. They're enjoying themselves. That's what matters. Customer satisfaction. 11 in the evening. Final hour. The end is near. You can see it. Midnight. Closing time. Freedom. Sleep. Sweet unconsciousness. The lodgers start heading upstairs. Early to bed. They're tired from travel. They need sleep. They climb the stairs. Carefully. Drunk stairs are dangerous. One misstep and you're tumbling down. Broken bones, concussions, death happens regularly. You watch them. Make sure they make it safely. They do. Success. The remaining customers are locals. Regulars. They'll stay until you kick them out. Midnight exactly. Not a minute earlier. They're making the most of their drinking time, squeezing every last drop of ale from the day. Midnight. You announce closing. The regulars groan. They always groan. They drain their cups. They pay their tabs. They leave. Slowly. Reluctantly. The tavern empties. Silence. Again. 3 nights in a row. You're building a routine. Work until exhaustion. Close. Enjoy 60 seconds of silence. Count money. Collapse. Sleep. Repeat. You count. Today's take. 7 shillings. 8 pence. Lower than yesterday. You paid 3 shillings in hearth tax. Net. 4 shillings 8 pence. 56 pence profit. After 18 hours. After serving hundreds of people. After managing lodgers. Preventing fights. Emptying chamber pots. Dealing with bedbugs. Handling a robbery. Paying taxes. And nearly dying of exhaustion. 56 pence. This is your life. This is medieval tavern keeping. Barely profitable. Constantly exhausting. Eternally repetitive. You climb the stairs. You pass the lodgers' rooms. You can hear snoring. Scratching. Someone's awake and miserable with bedbug bites. Not your problem. They paid for a bed. They got a bed. The bedbugs are a bonus. Free of charge. You reach your room. You collapse. You're unconscious within seconds. Tomorrow begins in 5 hours. More brewing. More serving. More lodgers. More problems. More exhaustion. The cycle continues. Forever. Welcome to the hospitality industry, 1350 style. Where the beds have bedbugs, the profits are minimal, and the work never ends. At least you're providing a service. Beds and ale. People need beds and ale. You're meeting a need. You're contributing to society. You're slowly dying from overwork. But you're contributing. Sleep. You've earned it. All 5 hours of it. Day 4 begins with a problem. You wake up to shouting. Loud shouting. From downstairs. It's 4:30 in the morning. The tavern is closed. You're not open yet. Why is someone shouting in your closed tavern? You grab a wooden club. Every tavern keeper has one. For situations exactly like this. You rush downstairs. Still dark. The fire is embers. You can barely see. 2 men are in your tavern. They broke in. Through a window, they're trying to steal a barrel of ale. They've already rolled it halfway to the door. Bold, stupid, both. You shout. They see you. They run. They abandon the barrel. Out the door. Into the dark London streets. Gone. You chase them briefly. They're faster, younger. You're 45 and exhausted. You stop. Let them go. You're not dying over a barrel of ale. You check the damage. Broken window. Barrel intact. Nothing else stolen. Could be worse. The window will cost money to fix. Glass is expensive. You'll probably just board it up. Wood is cheaper. Your tavern will have 1 less window. Less light. More darkness. Very atmospheric. You drag the barrel back to position. Heavy. You're alone. Margaret won't arrive for another 30 minutes. You struggle. Your back screams. You don't care. The barrel goes back. Success. Painful success. This is why nights are dangerous. Theft, break-ins, violence. London after dark is lawless. The City Watch exists. Theoretically, practically, they're useless, underpaid, corrupt. They don't patrol. They don't respond to crimes. They just exist. Collecting salaries, doing nothing. You're on your own. Every tavern keeper is. You defend your property yourself, or you lose it. Simple economics enforced by wooden clubs. You board up the broken window. Temporary fix. Nails and planks. The window is gone. The opening is covered. Secure enough. The thieves won't come back tonight. They know you're awake. They'll try somewhere else. Someone else's problem. 5 in the morning. Margaret arrives. She sees the boarded window. She doesn't ask. She knows. This happens. Regularly. Every tavern in London gets broken into eventually. You're not special, just unlucky. This week, Thomas arrives. You tell him about the break-in. He's concerned. Are you hurt? You're fine. Just angry. And tired. Always tired. The exhaustion is permanent now. Chronic. You'll die tired. You start the day. Fire. Ale. Preparation. The routine continues despite the break-in. The routine always continues. Nothing stops the routine. Not theft. Not exhaustion. Not pain. The tavern opens at 6. Period. 6 in the morning. You open. First, customers arrive. They notice the boarded window. They ask questions. You tell them. Break-in. Attempted theft. You fought them off. The story grows in the telling. By your third retelling, you fought off 5 thieves with your bare hands. Heroic. Exaggerated. Good for reputation. Customers are impressed. You're tough. You protect your business. This is the image you want. Strong tavern keeper. Safe establishment. Come drink here. We fight off criminals. Marketing. The morning proceeds normally. Breakfast crowd. Labourers and early risers. Bread and ale. Standard service. Nothing remarkable. You're grateful for normal. After the morning you've had, normal is paradise. 8 in the morning. The lodgers check out. The couple from room 2 is still complaining about bedbugs. You're still not offering refunds. They leave. Unhappy. They'll tell everyone about the bedbugs. You don't care. Everyone already knows. Bedbugs are universal. Complaining about bedbugs in 1350 is like complaining about air. It's everywhere. Deal with it. The merchant traders leave. They're heading to the wool market. Business. They thank you for the lodging, despite the robbery. They'll be back next month. Regular customers. Valuable. You appreciate them. You tell them so. Customer relations. By 9 in the morning, all rooms are empty again. Clean slate. Tonight will bring new lodgers, new problems, new complaints. The cycle continues. You're cleaning the main room when a fight breaks out. 9 in the morning and there's already violence. 2 customers. Drunk. They started drinking at 6. 3 hours of continuous ale consumption. They're catastrophically drunk and angry. The argument is about nothing. Literally nothing. One man bumped into the other. Accident. The other man took offence. Ego. Pride. Alcohol. Terrible combination. They're shouting, standing, shoving. One throws a punch, misses. The other punches back. Connects. Blood. The first punch that lands draws blood. The fight becomes real. You and Margaret move in. You've done this hundreds of times. Separate the fighters, restrain them, prevent further violence. Teamwork. You grab one, Margaret grabs the other. You pull them apart. Physically. Force. The man you're holding is strong, struggling, wants to keep fighting. You hold firm. You're stronger. Years of hauling barrels. You've got grip strength. He's not going anywhere. Margaret has the other man. He's calmer. Already regretting his choices. The blood is from his nose. Broken. Probably. Noses break easily, especially when punched by drunk men with poor aim but lucky shots. You throw them both out, literally, into the street. Banned. 1 week. They protest. You don't care. Fighting means bans. No exceptions. Policy. They leave. Bleeding and banned. The tavern returns to normal. The other customers barely reacted. Morning fights are common. Entertainment. Free entertainment. Better than nothing. You clean up the blood. Small amount. Just drops. From the broken nose. Blood on your floor. Blood on your rushes. This is normal. Tavern floors see blood regularly. You're desensitized. It's just another fluid to clean. 10 in the morning. You're already exhausted. The break-in. The fight. The constant serving. 4 hours into your workday and you're done. 14 more hours to go. You're not going to make it. You're going to make it. You always make it. No choice. A group of sailors enters. 6 men. Just arrived in London. Their ship docked this morning. They've been at sea for 2 weeks. They're desperate for ale. Real ale, not ship's beer. Ship's beer is terrible. Worse than your ale, which is saying something. Your ale is bad. Ship's beer is punishment. They order, you serve. They drink, like drowning men finding water. Fast, desperate, grateful. They finish their first cups in seconds. They order more. You keep pouring. They keep drinking. This is excellent business. Sailors are great customers. They have money from wages. They're extremely thirsty. They drink heavily. Perfect. They're also loud. Very loud. Sea voices, shouting over wind and waves. They don't have indoor voices. Everything is yelling. The entire tavern can hear their conversation, their voyage. The storms, the cargo, the ports, the women in Calais. Too much information. You're learning things you didn't want to know. 11 in the morning. The sailors are drunk, thoroughly drunk. They've consumed maybe 2 gallons of ale collectively. That's 1/3 of a gallon each, in 1 hour. Impressive. Dangerous. Both. One sailor starts singing. Sea shanties, work songs. The other sailors join in. Now your tavern is full of drunk sailors singing about nautical life. The other customers are annoyed. Or entertained. Depends on the customer. You're neutral. As long as they're buying ale, they can sing. The singing gets louder. Other customers start complaining. Too loud. Too vulgar. Some of these songs are explicit. Very explicit. Content warnings would be appropriate. If content warnings existed, they don't. You're in 1350. Everything is explicit. All the time. Nobody's protecting anyone from anything. You ask the sailors to lower the volume. They comply. Slightly. They're still loud but less loud. Improvement. You'll take it. Noon. The lunch rush begins. The tavern fills. Sailors plus regulars plus labourers. 80 people. Maximum capacity. The heat is unbearable. The smell is worse. 80 unwashed bodies in one room. Summer heat. No ventilation except one boarded up window. The air is thick. Visible, almost. You're breathing body odour. This is your life. A customer passes out, face down on a table, unconscious, drunk, very drunk. He's been here since breakfast. 5 hours of drinking. His limit has been reached. Exceeded. Obliterated. You check him. Still breathing. Good sign. You leave him. He'll wake up eventually. Probably. You've had customers not wake up. They died. At your tables. From drinking. Alcohol poisoning is real. And fatal. You've seen it 3 times in 20 years. 3 corpses. 3 explanations to the City Watch. 3 lost customers. Bad for business. This customer is breathing steadily. He's fine. Just very drunk. You let him sleep. His friends will wake him later. Or carry him home. Or rob him. Friendship in 1350 is complicated. 1 in the afternoon. The sailors decide to arm wrestle. Tavern competition. They're challenging each other and other customers. Money on the table. Bets. Gambling. Technically illegal. Practically encouraged. You allow it. Gambling customers buy more ale. Economics. The first match begins. 2 sailors, both massive, arms like tree trunks. They grip hands. They strain, veins bulging, faces red. The crowd watches, intense, exciting. 1 sailor wins. Money changes hands. The next match begins. A regular customer challenges a sailor. Confidence. Stupidity. The customer is a blacksmith. Strong from hammering metal all day. He thinks he can win. He can't. The sailor destroys him. 3 seconds. Humiliating defeat. The crowd laughs. The blacksmith pays up. Pride costs money. 2 in the afternoon. The arm wrestling continues. More matches. More bets. More ales sold. You're making money. The sailors are spending freely. Wages burning through their purses. By tonight they'll be broke. Tomorrow they'll be back at sea. The cycle of sailor life. Earn money. Spend money. Repeat. 1 sailor gets too confident. He challenges everyone. Anyone who wants to try. Open challenge. A younger customer accepts. Teenager. Apprentice. Skinny. Weak looking. The sailor laughs. This will be easy. The match begins. The apprentice is struggling. Obviously, the sailor is toying with him, letting him try, enjoying the dominance. Then the apprentice pulls a move. Sudden shift. Leverage. The sailor's hand goes down. The apprentice wins. The tavern erupts. Shock. Excitement. The underdog won. The sailor is furious. Humiliated. He accuses the apprentice of cheating. The apprentice denies it. The argument escalates. Voices rising. Aggression building. This is becoming a fight. You intervene. Immediately. No fighting. The match is over. The apprentice won fairly. Pay up. Move on. The sailor doesn't want to move on. He wants revenge. Violent revenge. Margaret steps in. She's holding a wooden club. Your wooden club. She took it from behind the bar. She's ready. The sailor sees the club. He reconsiders. He's drunk but not stupid. Fighting a woman with a club is a losing proposition. He backs down, pays the bet, sits down. Crisis averted. Margaret is magic, genuinely. She diffused the situation without violence, just presence and a club. Threat of force without actual force. Perfect. 3 in the afternoon. The sailors are running out of money. They've spent everything. Ale, gambling, food. They're broke. They ask for credit. You refuse. No credit for strangers. You don't know them. They could sail away tomorrow and never return. You'd never get paid. Cash only. Policy. They understand. No hard feelings. They leave, staggering, drunk, broke, happy. They got what they wanted. Alley and excitement. Mission accomplished. The tavern is quieter now. 40 customers. Normal afternoon volume. You can breathe, relatively. The air is still terrible, but less terrible. Progress. A beggar enters. Woman, young, maybe 25. She's thin, dirty, desperate. She asks for food. You give her bread, stale bread, the bread from yesterday that hardened overnight. She's grateful. She asks for ale. You give her water. Heavily watered ale, barely ale, mostly water. She drinks, thanks you, leaves. You feel guilty. You gave her almost nothing. A piece of hard bread and coloured water. But it's something. More than most taverns give. Some taverns chase beggars away. Beat them. You feed them, minimally. But you feed them. That counts for something. Maybe. 4 in the afternoon. You check the fermenting ale. The batch from 2 days ago is ready. You tap it. You pour a sample. You taste. Good. Strong. Flavourful. Success. This batch turned out well. You roll it upstairs. New barrel ready. Business continues. Batch now to belies contras. You rolled her. Fear. 5 in the evening. The evening shift begins. Workers finish for the day. The tavern fills again. 60 customers. The noise returns. The heat returns. The smell returns. Everything returns. The cycle is eternal. A regular named Peter arrives. He's a carpenter, skilled worker, good money. He drinks every night, every single night. Without fail. Alcoholism, medieval edition. No treatment. No intervention. No support. Just drink until you die. Peter is on that path. He knows it. Everyone knows it. Nobody talks about it. You just serve him ale and watch him deteriorate. He orders. You serve. He drinks. He's already drunk. He started drinking at lunch. At another tavern. Now he's here. Continuing. He'll drink until midnight. Then stumble home. Sleep 4 hours. Wake up. Work all day. Drink all evening. Repeat. Every day. For years. Until his liver fails. Or he falls off a roof. Or he gets stabbed in a drunken fight. Carpenter. Mortality rates are high. Alcohol doesn't help. 6 in the evening. A woman enters. She's looking for her husband. Describes him. You've seen him. He's at the corner table. Drunk. Been here since noon. Spent the family money on ale. Classic scenario. Happens daily. Different men. Same story. She's angry. Rightfully. She marches over. She starts yelling. He starts yelling back. The tavern watches. Entertainment. Again. Domestic disputes are free theatre. Everyone loves drama. As long as it's not their drama. She demands he come home. He refuses. She escalates. He escalates. This is going badly. You prepare to intervene. Margaret is already moving. The wife does something unexpected. She dumps his ale. Grabs his cup. Pours it on the floor. The ale spills. Wasted. Gone. The husband is shocked. Furious. He stands up. Too fast. He's drunk. He loses balance. He falls. Crashes into the table. The table collapses. He's on the floor. Covered in splinters. Humiliated. The wife leaves. Victorious. The husband stays on the floor. Defeated. The crowd laughs. The entertainment value is exceptional. You're slightly annoyed about the wasted ale and broken table, but the story is worth it. This will be retold for weeks. You help the husband up. You charge him for the table. 2 pence for repairs. He pays, sheepishly. He leaves, walking home to face his angry wife. Good luck. He'll need it. 7 in the evening. You're repairing the table. Thomas is helping. Nails and wood. Basic carpentry. The table is wobbly but functional. Good enough. You return it to service. A customer immediately sits at it. Cycle continues. The evening drinking is heavy. Everyone's consuming rapidly. Stress relief. Medieval coping mechanism. Bad day at work? Drink. Good day at work? Drink. Anything happens? Drink. Alcohol is the universal solution. It solves nothing. But people try anyway. Your business depends on it. 8 in the evening. A stranger enters. He's well dressed. Wealthy. He looks around nervously. He's out of place. Rich people don't come to working class taverns. Not usually. Something's wrong. He approaches the bar. He orders ale. Expensive ale. You don't have expensive ale. You have ale. One type. He takes it. He pays. Too much. He gave you a silver penny for a half-penny drink. You start to make change. He tells you to keep it. Generous. Suspicious. Both. He sits in the corner. He's watching the room. Carefully. Looking for someone. Or hiding from someone. You're not sure which. You watch him. Carefully. Rich, nervous people bring trouble. Usually. 9 in the evening. The stranger is approached by another man. Also well dressed. They know each other. They sit together. They talk quietly. Too quietly. You can't hear. The conversation is private, intentionally. They're planning something. Business. Crime. Both. You don't know. You don't want to know. Plausible deniability. They finish talking. They leave together, quickly. The stranger leaves his cup. Full cup, barely touched. Wasted ale. You collect the cup. You pour the ale back into the barrel. Waste not. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. Recycling. 10 in the evening. 2 hours left. The crowd is extremely drunk. Hours of consumption. They're loud, sloppy, aggressive. Fights are brewing. Multiple potential fights. You can feel it. The tension is building. Inevitable violence approaching. 2 customers start arguing. Loud argument about nothing important. One claims the other owes him money. The other denies it. Debt disputes. Common. Usually settled violently. This is medieval collections enforcement. No lawyers, no courts, just fists. They stand. They're shouting. Fingers pointing. Chests bumping. The classic pre-fight dance. Margaret is watching. You're watching. Ready to intervene. Waiting for the first punch. It's coming. You know it's coming. The first punch is thrown. Connects. Hard. The other man punches back. Also connects. Now they're fighting. Really fighting. Not drunk flailing. Actual punches. With force. With intent. This is dangerous. You and Margaret move in. You grab one fighter. Margaret grabs the other. You pull them apart. They're still trying to fight. Reaching for each other. Swinging at air. You hold firm. Margaret holds firm. The fight is stopped. Physically prevented. You ban them both. 1 week. Standard punishment. They protest. Both claim the other started it. You don't care. Both were fighting. Both are banned. Equal enforcement. They leave. Angry. You'll see them in a week. They'll apologise. You'll let them back in. This is the routine. The tavern settles. The other customers return to drinking. The fight is already forgotten. Entertainment over. Back to ale. 11 in the evening. Final hour. The end approaches. You're exhausted beyond description. The break-in. The fights. The constant serving. 18 hours of work. Your body is shutting down. Your brain is shutting down. You're operating on autopilot. Muscle memory only. A customer tries to leave without paying. He thinks you didn't notice. You noticed. You notice everything. You stop him at the door. You demand payment. He claims he paid. He didn't. You know he didn't. You remember every transaction. Mental accounting, he argues. You argue back. He's trying to cheat you. Obvious. Blatant. You're not having it. You demand payment, or you're calling the watch. Empty threat. The watch won't come. But he doesn't know that. He pays. Reluctantly. Exactly what he owes. No tip. Obviously. He leaves. Bitter. Banned. Permanently. Attempted theft means permanent ban. Policy. You write his description in your mental ledger. Short. Balding. Scar on left cheek. Blue coat. You'll remember. You always remember. Midnight. Closing time. Finally, you announce it. Last call. Finish drinks. Go home. The Swan is closed. The customers leave. Slowly. The tavern empties. The door closes. The bar goes down. Locked. Secure. Another day complete. Silence. Beautiful. Perfect. Temporary. You count the money. Today's take. 6 shillings, 10 pence. Lower than usual. The broken window. The wasted ale. The lost time dealing with fights. The profit margin is thin. Very thin. After costs, 3 shillings, 8 pence, 44 pence profit. After 18 hours. After nearly dying multiple times. After endless violence and chaos. 44 pence. This is medieval tavern keeping. Dangerous, exhausting, barely profitable. You're literally risking your life for 44 pence a day. You climb the stairs. You're too tired to think. Too tired to care. You collapse. Sleep claims you instantly. Tomorrow begins in 5 hours. More ale, more customers, more fights, more exhaustion. The cycle never ends. Never. Welcome to the violent reality of running a medieval tavern, where fights are daily, theft is constant, and your profit is measured in pennies earned through bloodshed and persistence. At least you survived today. Tomorrow is another battle, another struggle, another 44 pence. If you're lucky, day 5. You wake to someone pounding on the door. 3 in the morning. 3. You're not open. You're not awake. You're not happy. The pounding continues. Urgent. Aggressive. Someone needs something desperately. You drag yourself out of bed. You're so tired you can barely walk. 5 days of this schedule. Your body is breaking down. Medieval burnout is real. And untreated, you just keep working until you collapse. Or die. Whichever comes first. You stumble downstairs. You open the door. A man is there. Drunk. Extremely drunk. He wants ale. Now. Immediately. He's slurring, swaying. He can barely stand. You tell him no. You're closed. Come back at 6. He doesn't accept this. He gets aggressive. Shouting. Demanding. He's not leaving without ale. He'll break down the door. He'll report you. He'll ruin you. Empty threats. Drunk threats. But threats nonetheless. You stand firm. No. Closed. Leave. He tries to push past you. Bad move. You shove him back. Hard. He stumbles, falls, lands in the street, sits there, confused. You close the door, bar it, go back to bed. This is medieval customer service. Sometimes you physically remove people. It's fine. It's normal. Everyone does it. The customer is not always right. Sometimes the customer is drunk and wrong and needs to be shoved into the street. Business Principles, 1350 edition. You try to sleep. Can't. Too angry. Too awake. You lie in bed until 5. Then give up. Start the day early. Extra hour of consciousness. Extra hour of suffering. Great. 5 in the morning. You're downstairs. Starting the fire. Preparing. Margaret won't arrive for another hour. Thomas neither. You're alone. Quiet. Almost peaceful, if you weren't seething with rage about the drunk customer. But otherwise peaceful. You use the time to brew. Another batch. The cycle continues. Barley. Water. Heating. Stirring. Routine. The brewing is meditative. Almost. If your arms didn't hurt from constant stirring. But the repetition is soothing. Predictable. Unlike customers are chaos. Brewing is order. 6 in the morning, Margaret arrives. She sees you've already started brewing. She's impressed. Or concerned. Probably concerned. You look terrible. 5 days of minimal sleep. Constant stress. You're deteriorating visibly. She doesn't say anything. She just starts setting up. Professional. Loyal. Worth her weight in silver. Worth more. Honestly. Thomas arrives. He's chipper. Energetic. Youth is wasted on the young. He starts hauling wood. Filling buckets. Helping with the brew. Useful. Necessary. Underpaid. All 3. 7 in the morning. You open. First customers arrive. Normal crowd. Labourers. Early shift. They order. You serve. Standard routine. No drama yet. Give it time. A customer complains. His ale tastes strange. Off. Sour. You taste it. He's right. This barrel has turned. Again. You've got spoilage issues. The summer heat is killing your ale. Fermentation is too fast. Spoilage is too fast. Everything's too fast. You can't keep up. You offer him fresh ale from a different barrel. He accepts. Crisis managed. But now you have another partial barrel of spoiling ale. Your profit margin is being consumed by waste. Literal consumption by bacteria and wild yeast. Medieval microbiology is destroying your business, and you don't even know what microbiology is. 8 in the morning. The spoiled barrel is half full. 8 gallons of questionable ale. You need to move it. Fast. Before it gets worse, you price it cheap again. Discount ale. Clearance. Going fast. Literally. It's going bad fast. Customers bite. They always do. Cheap ale sells. Even bad cheap ale. Especially to people who can't afford good ale, which is most people. Poverty drives sales. Economics. 9 in the morning. A group enters. 5 men. Rough-looking. Suspicious. They're not regular customers. You've never seen them. They sit in the corner. They order ale. You serve. They pay. So far, so good. They're watching the room, carefully, looking at other customers, evaluating, planning something. You can tell. 20 years of tavern keeping gives you instincts. These men are trouble, guaranteed. You alert Margaret. Quietly. Watch them. She nods. She sees it too. Thomas is oblivious. He's 12. He doesn't have trouble detecting instincts yet. You'll watch them yourself. 10 in the morning. The suspicious men are talking to other customers. Casually, friendly, too friendly. They're asking questions about money, about goods, about who has what. They're casing the room, looking for robbery targets. Your tavern is being used as a criminal planning centre. Fantastic. You can't throw them out. They haven't done anything. Yet, they're paying customers, drinking ale, following tavern rules. You can't ban someone for looking suspicious. You'd lose half your clientele. Suspicious is normal in medieval London. Everyone's suspicious, usually for good reason. You watch, you wait, you prepare. If they try anything, you're ready. The wooden club is behind the bar. Within reach, always, 11 in the morning. One of the suspicious men approaches another customer, a merchant, wealthy looking. The suspicious man is being friendly, buying the merchant a drink, chatting. The merchant is flattered, relaxed, unsuspecting. He's being set up, obviously, to you, not to him. You move closer, casually, wiping tables, collecting cups, positioning yourself nearby, listening. The suspicious man is asking about the merchant's business, what he trades, where he's going, when he's leaving London, information gathering, pre-robbery intelligence, classic technique. The merchant is talking freely, too freely. He's had 3 ales, he's trusting. He's telling this stranger everything, his route, his cargo, his schedule. He's giving criminals his entire travel plan. Brilliant, just brilliant. You consider warning him, but if you do, the criminals will know you're onto them. They'll leave, regroup, try somewhere else, maybe somewhere more violent. At least here you're watching. You can intervene if necessary. You stay silent. Strategic silence. Noon. The lunch rush begins. The tavern fills. The suspicious men are still there, still gathering information. They've identified 3 potential targets. The merchant, a traveller with a full coin purse, a craftsman wearing expensive tools. All 3 are drunk. All 3 are talking too much. All 3 are perfect victims. You're torn. Do you warn them? Do you throw out the criminals on suspicion alone? Do you let it play out and intervene only if violence starts? Medieval moral dilemmas, no good options. You choose watching, for now. 1 in the afternoon, one of the suspicious men leaves, just walks out. The other 4 remain. This is a pattern. One person leaves to prepare, the others stay to finalise targets. Then they all leave. Then they rob someone later, outside, away from witnesses, away from you. Plausible deniability. You were just serving them ale, not involved in their crimes, legally separate, morally complicated. The merchant is very drunk. He's announced he's leaving, right now. He needs to get to his lodging. He's staying at an inn 2 streets over. He's got goods there, valuable goods. Wool, silk, spices. He's announcing his inventory to a room full of strangers. Security through alcohol. The strategy is terrible. He stands, pays, leaves, staggers out the door. The 4 suspicious men wait exactly 2 minutes. Then they leave. Following him. Obviously following him. Everyone in the tavern can see it. Nobody says anything. Not your problem. Not their problem. Medieval bystander effect. You feel guilty. You could have warned him. You didn't. He's about to be robbed. Possibly hurt. Possibly killed. And you let him walk into it. But what were you supposed to do? Accuse paying customers of planning crimes. With no proof, they'd sue you or stab you. Both options are bad. You return to work. You try to forget. You can't. The guilt sits heavy. This is the moral cost of tavern keeping. You see crimes being planned. You can't always prevent them. You just serve ale and hope nobody dies. Sometimes they die anyway. 2 in the afternoon. The city watch arrives. 2 officers. They're looking for witnesses. A merchant was robbed. 2 streets over, an hour ago. Beaten. Stripped of his goods and money. Left in an alley. He's alive. Barely. Did anyone see anything? Do you know anything? You describe the 5 suspicious men, their appearance, their behaviour. The watch takes notes. They'll investigate. By investigate, they mean nothing. They'll write a report, file it. Forget about it. The merchant will never see his goods again. The criminals will never be caught. Justice is a fantasy. Law enforcement is a joke. Medieval crime rates are catastrophic because nobody actually enforces laws. The watch leaves. You return to serving. The guilt remains. You could have prevented this. Maybe. Probably not. But maybe. The uncertainty is worse than knowing. 3 in the afternoon. A different problem arrives. A woman enters. She's angry. Very angry. She's looking for her husband. She describes him. You know him. Regular customer. He's here. Corner table. Drinking. As usual. She marches over. She doesn't yell. Worse. She's quietly furious. The deadly calm anger. More dangerous than yelling. She sits down across from him. She starts talking. Low voice. Intense. The entire tavern is silent. Listening. This is prime entertainment. She's leaving him. She's taking the young ones with her. She's leaving with their offspring. He drank away the rent money. Again. They're being evicted. Tomorrow. Because of him. Because of his drinking. Because he chose ale over family. He's trying to defend himself. Poorly. He's drunk. His arguments are incoherent. She's not listening anyway. She's done. Finished. 20 years of marriage. Over. She stands. Leaves. He sits there. Stunned. The reality is sinking in. Slowly. Through the alcohol fog. He starts crying. Openly. At the table. A grown man. Sobbing. The other customers look away. Uncomfortable. Nobody knows what to do. Medieval emotional support is non-existent. You just let people suffer publicly and pretend not to notice. He finishes his ale. Through tears. He orders another. You serve him. What else can you do? Refuse him ale? That won't help. He'll just go somewhere else. Drink somewhere else. You might as well take his money. He's going to spend it anyway. Enabling addiction while profiting from it. Tavern keeping in a nutshell. 4 in the afternoon. A fight breaks out. 2 customers. Argument over a woman. One claims the other was flirting with his wife. The other denies it. Medieval jealousy. Possessiveness. Violence. Standard progression. They're fighting seriously. Not drunk flailing. Real punches. Hard punches. One man is bleeding. Mouth. Lip split. The other has a black eye forming. They're both landing hits. This is a real fight. You and Margaret intervene. You grab the jealous husband. Margaret grabs the accused flirt. You separate them. They're still trying to fight. Reaching, straining. You hold them firmly. Margaret holds firm. The fight is stopped. You ban them both. 2 weeks. Longer ban. Serious fight. Serious ban. They protest. Violently. They're angry at you now. United in hatred. Former enemies. Now allies. Against you. Beautiful. You don't care. Out. Both of them. They leave. Threatening. Promising revenge. Empty threats. Probably. You hope. You'll see them in 2 weeks. They'll have forgotten. Probably. You hope. 5 in the evening. You're exhausted. Emotionally. Physically. The robbery guilt. The crying husband. The fight. It's only 5. You have 7 more hours. You're not going to make it. You're going to make it. You always do. No choice. A regular named Geoffrey arrives. He's a good customer. Pays on time. Doesn't fight. Polite. He orders ale. You serve him. He drinks. He's quiet tonight. Usually he's talkative. Today, silence. Something's wrong. After his 3rd ale, he starts talking. His wife died. Yesterday, giving birth. The infant too. Both gone. He came to the tavern because home is too empty. Too painful. The tavern is noise. Distraction. Temporary escape from grief. You offer condolences. Inadequate condolences. Words don't help. Nothing helps. Medieval maternal mortality is brutal. 1 in 3 women dies during labour at some point in their lives. 1 in 3. The statistics are terrible. The grief is universal. Everyone's lost someone to maternal mortality. Everyone. Geoffrey keeps drinking. Ale after ale. Trying to drown the grief. It's not working. It never works. But he tries. You keep serving. What else can you do? Grief counselling doesn't exist. Therapy doesn't exist. Community support is limited. People just suffer, publicly, in taverns, while drinking. This is medieval mental health care. 6 in the evening. The evening crowd arrives. They mix with the grieving widower, the drunk husband whose wife left him, and the regular customers who are dealing with their own problems. Your tavern is a collection of suffering. Everyone's hurting. Everyone's drinking. Nobody's healing, just temporarily numbing. The ale flows. The pain continues. A customer gets too drunk. He's swaying at the bar, can barely stand. He orders another ale. You refuse. He's had enough. Cut off, he argues. He's angry. He wants more ale. You refuse again. Firm. Final. He throws his cup at you. Misses. The cup hits the wall. Shatters. Ceramic everywhere. You're furious. That's assault. That's a crime. You could call the watch. You don't. You just ban him, permanently. Out. Now. Forever. He leaves, cursing, threatening. You're adding threats to the permanent ban. He's never coming back. Good. You don't need customers who throw things. Your standards are low, but not that low. 7 in the evening. Margaret looks dead on her feet. She's been working for 13 hours, non-stop. She's 40. Her body can't take much more of this. You tell her to take a break. Real break. 30 minutes. Sit. Rest. Eat. She protests. You insist. She finally agrees. She sits. She's asleep within minutes. Sitting up. Asleep. She's that exhausted. You and Thomas handle the tavern. It's chaotic. You're understaffed. Customers are waiting, complaining. You're moving as fast as you can. It's not fast enough. You're one person. With a 12-year-old assistant. Serving 80 customers. The math doesn't work. You wake Margaret after 20 minutes. You need her. She wakes. Disoriented. Confused. She remembers where she is. She stands. Back to work. 20 minutes of sleep. That's her break. That's all she gets. 8 in the evening. A brawl erupts. Not a fight. A brawl. 5 men. All drunk. All angry. All fighting. It started as a 2-person fight. Others joined in. Picked sides. Now it's chaos. Fists everywhere. Tables overturned. Benches broken. Cups shattered. Total chaos. You grab the wooden club. Margaret grabs another club. You both wade in. You're hitting people. Not hard. Just enough to get attention. Enough to stop the fighting. You're breaking up a 5-person brawl with 2 clubs and determination. It works. Eventually. The fighters separate. They're breathing hard. Bleeding. Bruised. Your tavern looks like a disaster. Broken furniture. Spilled ale. Blood on the rushes. Again. This is the 3rd major fight this week. The violence is escalating. You ban all 5 men. 1 month. Harsh ban. Deserved ban. They're furious. All 5. They're yelling. Threatening. Together. Angry mob. You don't care. You stand firm. Club in hand. Ready. They see you're serious. They leave. Finally. Grudgingly. The other customers help clean up. Community effort. They right the tables. Collect the benches. Sweep the broken ceramic. Tavern community. When violence happens, everyone helps recover. Mutual survival. You're grateful. You thank them. Free round of ale for helpers. Generosity. Also strategy. Keep the community strong. 9 in the evening. The repairs are done. The tavern is functional. Barely. 1 table is gone entirely. 2 broken to fix. You're down furniture. Capacity is reduced. Income will drop. The violence cost you money. And furniture. And peace of mind. Geoffrey, the widower, is still drinking. He's been here for 4 hours. He's extremely drunk. Dangerously drunk. He's crying again. Openly. Loudly. The other customers are uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable, but you let him stay. He needs this. The grief needs outlet. The tavern provides that. Even when it's uncomfortable. 10 in the evening, Thomas empties a chamber pot out the window. The contents splash into the street. A person below yells. Angry yells. They got splashed. With waste. They're furious. They're coming inside. To complain. To fight. To get revenge. The person enters, covered in filth, dripping, furious. They're yelling at Thomas, 12-year-old Thomas, who was just doing his job. The person is threatening violence against a youth. Unacceptable. You intervene. You step between them. You apologize. Thomas apologizes. We're sorry. Accident. Standard practice. Happens to everyone. Medieval hazards. You offer free ale. Compensation. The person calms down. Slightly. Accepts the ale. Sits. Still angry. Still dripping. But sitting. Not fighting. Success. 11 in the evening. Final hour. You're beyond exhausted. The day has been catastrophic. Break-in. Robbery. Crying husband. Grieving widower. Multiple fights. One brawl. Flying waste. Broken furniture. This is the worst day this week. Possibly this month. You've survived worse. Barely. But you've survived. Jeffrey finally leaves. He can barely walk. You help him to the door. You point him toward home. He staggers off. Into the dark. You hope he makes it. Many drunk people don't. They fall. Drown in gutters. Get robbed. Die in alleys. Medieval night dangers. Jeffrey is risking all of them. But you can't stop him. Can't keep him here. He needs to go home. Eventually. Face the empty house. The grief. The reality. Midnight. Closing time. You announce it. Weak voice. Tired voice. The customers leave. Slowly. The tavern empties. You bar the door. Lock it. Secure it. Another day done. Another survival. You count the money. Today's take. 5 shillings, 2 pence. Lowest this week. The spoiled ale. The broken furniture. The lost time. The chaos. Everything costs money. After expenses. 2 shillings, 4 pence. 28 pence profit. Terrible. Catastrophically low. This day almost bankrupted you. You can't have many days like this. You'll go under, lose the business, lose everything. The margins are too thin, the costs too high. One bad week and you're done, finished. Medieval business is brutal. No safety net, no insurance, no backup plan. Just survive or die. You climb the stairs. Each step hurts. Your body is broken. Your spirit is broken. You're broken. But tomorrow comes anyway, in 5 hours, ready or not, broken or not. You'll open at 6. You'll serve. You'll survive. Because that's what you do. That's all you can do. You collapse on your bed. You don't even remove your clothes. Too tired. Sleep claims you. Immediate. Total. Dreamless. The sleep of the completely destroyed. Welcome to the reality of medieval tavern keeping, where every day brings new disasters, the customers are terrible, and the profit barely covers the cost of surviving the chaos. At least you're still alive. Barely. But alive. For now. Tomorrow might change that. But tonight, you survived. Again. That's all you can ask for. The Swan endures, damaged, bloodied, but enduring, just like you. 6 days. You've survived 6 days of running the Swan. 6 days of brewing, serving, fighting, cleaning, mediating, threatening, apologizing, and barely profiting. 6 days that feel like 6 years. Medieval time dilation. When every day is 18 hours of chaos, time loses meaning. You're just existing, surviving, persisting through sheer stubbornness. Let's recap what you've endured. What running a medieval tavern in 1350 London actually means. You wake at 5 in the morning. Every morning. No weekends, no holidays, no sick days. Medieval people haven't invented time off. You work until you can't work anymore. Then you work more. Your body hurts constantly. Feet, back, shoulders, hands, everything. The pain is permanent. You're developing chronic conditions that won't be diagnosed or treated because medical understanding is 400 years away from being useful. You just hurt, forever. You brew ale constantly. The brewing never stops. Every batch lasts 3 days before spoiling. You're always brewing, always crushing barley, always boiling wort, always adding gruit, always scraping yeast from previous batches. The yeast is contaminated. The water is contaminated. The equipment is contaminated. Everything's contaminated. You don't know this. You just know sometimes the ale turns out well and sometimes it doesn't. Trial and error. Mostly error. Historical records from 14th century London indicate that tavern keepers brewed an average of 3 to 4 times per week to maintain adequate supply. You're hitting that average. Barely. The labour is constant. The results are inconsistent. The profit margins are catastrophically thin. 1 shilling of barley becomes 2 shillings of ale if you're lucky. If fermentation goes well, if nothing spoils, if customers pay, a lot of ifs. You serve hundreds of people daily, workers, merchants, travellers, sailors, beggars, criminals. Everyone comes to your tavern, they drink your terrible ale. They eat your questionable pottage. They gamble illegally. They fight frequently. They vomit occasionally. They die rarely but memorably. Your tavern is the social centre of the neighbourhood, the information hub, the entertainment venue, the therapy office, the crime planning centre. All of these, simultaneously. You're not just serving ale, you're providing community infrastructure, unpaid infrastructure. You're subsidising social cohesion through alcohol sales. You break up fights constantly, multiple fights per day, arguments over nothing, gambling disputes, debt collection, jealousy, politics, religion, business. Everything becomes a fight eventually. Alcohol plus masculinity plus medieval honour culture equals violence. The equation is simple. The results are predictable. You intervene with physical force. You separate grown men who are trying to hurt each other. You're a bouncer, an unpaid bouncer, who also brews the ale and cooks the food and manages the lodging and does the accounting, multitasking. You manage lodgers who complain about bedbugs. Correctly. The bedbugs are real. They're everywhere. You can't eliminate them. Nobody can. Medieval pest control is prayer and hope. Neither works. The bedbugs persist. The lodgers complain. You apologise. You offer nothing, because there's nothing to offer. The bedbugs won, centuries ago. You're just managing their habitat now. You deal with theft constantly. Window break-ins, pickpockets, customers leaving without paying, lodgers robbing each other, criminals planning robberies in your tavern then executing them elsewhere. You're adjacent to crime, always. Your tavern enables criminal activity. You don't want to. But taverns are where criminals gather, where they drink, where they plan, where they celebrate after successful crimes. You can't stop this. You can only watch and feel guilty and keep serving ale. You witness suffering daily, widowers grieving, wives leaving husbands, alcoholics destroying themselves, families falling apart. Medieval life is brutal. Everyone's traumatized. Nobody has support systems, no therapy, no counselling, no mental health care, just ale, temporary numbing, insufficient comfort. You provide the ale. You witness the suffering. You can't help beyond serving drinks and offering brief kindness. It's not enough. It's never enough. But it's all you have. You empty chamber pots, full of human waste. You sweep floors covered in spilled ale, dropped food, blood, vomit, and things you don't identify. You wash cups in contaminated water. You serve food from pots that haven't been properly cleaned in weeks. You breathe air thick with smoke, body odour, and despair. The working conditions are appalling. You're developing respiratory problems. Everyone who works in smoky buildings does. And bioarchaeological analysis of medieval tavern keepers' remains shows characteristic lung damage from chronic smoke exposure. Your lungs are being destroyed slowly. You won't live to see 60. Most tavern keepers don't. You make almost no money. After 6 days of brutal labour, you've profited maybe 3 shillings total. That's 36 pence. For 6 days. For 108 hours of work. You're earning a third of a penny per hour. The math is depressing. The reality is worse. This is poverty with extra steps. You own a business. You're still poor. Medieval capitalism is exploitation at every level. You're exploiting yourself for survival. But you're your own boss, self-employed, living the dream. The dream is exhausting and unprofitable, but it's yours. You answer to no one, except the guild, the crown, the church, the city authorities, your customers, your suppliers, and economic reality. So basically everyone. But technically you're independent. Technically, the food you serve is terrible. Pottage that's been simmering for days. Bread that could break teeth. Ale that tastes like fermented grain water with herbal notes of regret, but it keeps people alive. It provides calories. It prevents starvation. That's all food needs to do in 1350. Nutrition, function, survival. You're meeting the minimum standard. Barely. The entertainment you provide is violence, fights, arguments, domestic disputes, drunk singing, bad gambling, occasional deaths. This is medieval Netflix. People watch each other suffer and call it entertainment. You're the venue, the stage, the enabler. You're in the entertainment industry, the brutal, depressing, occasionally fatal entertainment industry. Your staff is minimal. Margaret is worth everything. She works harder than anyone. She's 40 and surviving conditions that kill most people by 35. She's exceptional. She deserves more than 4 pence a day. You can't afford to pay her more. The economics don't work. She knows this. She stays anyway. Loyalty, necessity, both. Thomas is 12 and doing adult labour. He hauls barrels, he empties chamber pots, he washes endless cups. He works 16-hour days for 2 pence and meals. This is normal. This is expected. This is medieval labour standards. Young people work. Hard work. Dangerous work. No protections. No regulations. Just survival. Thomas will probably survive to adulthood. Probably. Many don't. The work is brutal. The conditions are harsh. But he's getting fed. He's learning a trade. He's better off than many 12-year-olds. The bar is underground. The customers are impossible. Demanding, drunk, violent, poor, desperate, suffering, human. They're all suffering. Everyone in 1350 London is dealing with poverty, disease, violence, loss, and the constant reality of death. They come to your tavern to forget. Temporarily, you provide that service. You're a suffering management professional. You manage other people's suffering while managing your own. It's exhausting. It's necessary. It's all you can do. The building is falling apart. Leaking roof. Broken window now boarded up. Wobbly tables. Collapsing benches. Contaminated well. Infested beds. The infrastructure is failing. You can't afford repairs. You just patch things. Temporarily. Inadequately. The building deteriorates. Like everything else. Slow decay. Managed decline. Medieval maintenance philosophy. The authorities are everywhere and nowhere. Alley conners testing your quality. Tax collectors demanding money. Guild representatives collecting fees. City Watch investigating crimes, but solving nothing. Everyone wants something from you. Nobody helps you. You're on your own. Regulated but unsupported. Taxed but unprotected. This is medieval governance. Extraction without service. You're competing with dozens of other taverns. London has hundreds of taverns. Too many taverns. Not enough customers. The market is oversaturated. Competition is brutal. Prices are low. Quality is terrible everywhere. You're all racing to the bottom. Competing on who can serve the cheapest, most questionable ale while still attracting customers. You're winning this race. Barely. By serving slightly less terrible ale than the competition, marginal competitive advantage. The future is uncertain. One bad week, and you're bankrupt. One serious illness, and you can't work. One major crime, and you lose your license. One plague outbreak, and everyone dies. The risks are constant. The safeguards are non-existent. You're one disaster away from losing everything. Always. This is medieval business. Precarious, unstable, terrifying. But you persist. Every morning, you wake up. You start the fire. You brew the ale. You open the doors. You serve the customers. You break up the fights. You clean the mess. You count the coins. You survive another day. This is persistence. This is resilience. This is medieval working class life. Brutal and beautiful. Terrible and heroic. You're not special. You're doing what millions of people did. Working impossible jobs. Surviving impossible conditions. Making it through another day. They deserve our remembrance. Every tavern keeper who hauled barrels until their backs broke. Every serving woman who managed chaos while being paid almost nothing. Every young worker who emptied chamber pots and washed contaminated cups. Every customer who drank to forget their suffering. They were real people, living real lives, struggling with real problems. They endured conditions we can't imagine. They persisted through circumstances that would destroy us. They worked until they died. Usually young, always exhausted. They've earned our respect. Medieval tavern keeping was brutal labour. 18-hour days, 7 days a week. No breaks, no benefits. No safety regulations, no healthcare, no retirement. Just work until you physically couldn't anymore, then die. The life expectancy for tavern workers was catastrophically low. The working conditions would violate every modern labour law. The profit margins were razor thin. The risks were enormous. The rewards were minimal. But they did it. They kept the taverns running. They provided social spaces. They enabled community. They witnessed suffering and offered what comfort they could. They brewed terrible ale and served questionable food and broke up endless fights. They survived. That's what they did. They survived. In conditions designed to kill them, they persisted. They endured. They deserve better than to be forgotten. We've come absurdly far. From contaminated water and spoiling ale to modern sanitation and refrigeration. From 18-hour days to 8-hour days and weekends. From 4p wages to minimum wage laws. From chronic pain and early death to workers' compensation and healthcare. From complete vulnerability to labour protections. The improvement is staggering. We stand on their suffering. Every labour law, every safety regulation, every worker protection, built on the backs of people who had none of these things, who died so we could eventually learn better. The Swan was real, not this specific Swan, but thousands like it, in London, in every city, in every town. Ordinary taverns run by ordinary people doing extraordinary labour, keeping communities functioning, providing gathering places, creating social fabric, through brutal, grinding, endless work. They mattered. They contributed. They deserve our gratitude. Running a medieval tavern meant choosing between profit and ethics daily, serving spoiling ale or losing money, warning customers about criminals, or maintaining plausible deniability, cutting off drunk customers or making sales, paying fair wages or staying solvent. The choices were impossible. The margins were too thin for morality. You did what you had to do. You survived. You compromised. You felt guilty. You kept going. This is the reality. Not the romantic tavern scenes in movies. Not the cosy fireplace gatherings. Not the cheerful singing and dancing. Those things happened. Occasionally. Briefly. Between the violence and suffering. The reality was long hours, terrible working conditions, constant stress, minimal profit, endless labour, and early death. But it was also community, connection, human persistence, people gathering despite everything, drinking together, talking together, surviving together. The tavern was both terrible and essential, brutal and necessary, like medieval life itself. The fire is dimming now. You've spent 6 days at the Swan. You've brewed ale, served customers, broken up fights, managed lodgers, dealt with thieves, witnessed grief, enabled community, and barely profited. You've experienced medieval hospitality, the real version, the brutal, exhausting, barely profitable version, the version that actually existed. You're exhausted, physically destroyed, emotionally drained, financially marginal, but alive, still standing, still serving. Tomorrow you'll wake up at 5. You'll start another day, another cycle, more brewing, more serving, more fighting, more surviving, because that's what tavern keepers did. They kept going, they persisted, they endured. Until next time, traveller. The campfire is dimming. The Swan endures, battered but standing, like everyone who worked there, like everyone who drank there, like everyone who survived 1350 London. They endured unimaginable hardship. They deserve our remembrance. They've earned our gratitude. They survived so we could eventually learn better. We stand on their suffering. We owe them everything. Welcome to the end of our journey through medieval tavern keeping, where the ale was terrible, the customers were worse, and the profit barely covered the cost of staying alive, where labour was brutal and endless and undervalued, where violence was daily and suffering was constant and support was non-existent, where ordinary people did extraordinary things just to survive another day. They tried. With the knowledge they had, with the tools they had, with the resources they had, they tried. The ale was bad. The working conditions were terrible. The profit was minimal. But they tried. They showed up every day. They did the work. They served their communities. They persisted. That's worth remembering. That's worth honouring. That's worth carrying forward. The fire is out now. The Swan is closed. But the story continues. In every modern bar, in every restaurant, in every hospitality worker, still doing brutal labour for minimal pay, the struggle continues. Different conditions, same dignity, same persistence, same human resilience. Remember them. The medieval tavern keepers, the serving women, the young workers, the suffering customers. They were here. They mattered. They endured. They deserve our remembrance. The night belongs to history now, and history belongs to them.